Now, the Chicago Blackhawks are easily one of the best young teams in the NHL. Connor Bedard has quickly turned into a superstar, already up to a 90 overall, and he was absolutely dominating up until his injury that happened against a team that happened to be my favorite, but that is neither here nor there. The Chicago Blackhawks are definitely exceeding expectations this season. I was thinking they were going to be a lot worse, but you know what? Things haven't really been too bad for this franchise. They have a lot of young players still developing. The sky's the limit for this team in the future. So what I'm going to be doing with the Chicago Blackhawks is I'm going to be taking over as GM for the next 25 years. I'm going to be rebuilding this team, and I'm going to turn them into a dynasty, and we're going to be winning a lot of Stanley Cups. Now, when it comes to season number 1, we're likely not going to do too much. I'm just going to allow the young guys to develop on this team because there's a lot of great young pieces. We just have to give them opportunities. Oliver Moore, I'm going to have you play third line minutes this season. Whether we win a Stanley Cup this season or get the first overall pick, I really don't care. We're just preparing for the future. With that being said, there is one thing we should immediately do, and that's give Connor Bedard an extension. And right now, he's looking for $9.7 million for the next 6 seasons. That's an absolute steal, but how about we save a little bit of money? I'll do $9.2 million for the next 6 seasons. Connor Bedard, you're going to be sticking around Chicago, and more than likely, you're going to be playing here your entire career. Another guy we should focus on bringing back to the team is Kevin Korchinski. He's looking for $4.6 million. How about I do $4.5 million, and then I'll move you into a top 4 role, because if we want Kevin Korchinski to be one of our franchise defensemen in the future, we got to make sure he develops. And then with everyone else here, we're probably just going to be looking at a lot of two-way contracts. You know what? On top of giving Kevin Korchinski a top 4 role, Sam Rinzel, I'm also going to have you play third pairing minutes this season. I really want you to gain some minutes in the NHL early in your career, so I think that makes the most sense. Truthfully, I kind of want you to play second pairing minutes, but then we don't get an overall boost for line chemistry, but I think this still makes the most sense. Like, I want you developing, you have to be on the ice. Grizzlick and Carr Murphy, just play some good defense for me. So it's time for us to finally jump into year number 1. We've done everything we have to for season number 1. Truthfully, it's all about letting the young guys develop. We don't need to make a lot of trades right now. Let's just let the young pieces develop and turn into superstars. Alright, hold on, what are we doing here? Nashville's first in the entire league at the trade deadline. I was going to talk about how our plan is to be bad in season number 1 so we get a really good draft pick and get another elite player to pair alongside Bedard. But what are we doing here? Nashville 43-16-3. This ain't it. This is not it whatsoever. Meanwhile, the Chicago Blackhawks, 28th in the entire league. That's kind of what we're going for this season. I'm not too worried about this team being good. I just want us to prepare for the future, and we can prepare for the future if we get an elite draft pick. Connor Bedard, 59 points so far, 28 goals, 31 assists. He's up to a 93 overall. Teuvo Teravainen, 54 points. Frank Nazar, 41 points. At the end of the day, it's all about development for our young guys. Levshinov's up to an 82. I was kind of hoping to be a little bit higher than that. Kevin Korchinski, what overall are you up to? You're up to an 82, and you have a couple X factors, so things aren't looking too bad for you. Meanwhile, Spencer Knight, you're an 85 overall with medium league potential, 24 wins this season, 2 shouts, and 918 to 263. I'm not really too sure if we're going to do too much selling here at the trade deadline. I guess we'll get rid of guys on expiring deals. Other than that, we're probably not going to do too much. But then again, what can we really do? We're basically at the cap floor. So for trading players away, we also need to take players on. So yeah, that might be more difficult than expected. Yeah, I really don't know what we're going to trade away. Like Jason Dickinson, I guess I could trade you away, but then we would also have to take on like $4 million to reach the cap floor. So I actually don't think we're going to do anything here. We're going to save all of our money for free agency, even though there's really not going to be anything available in free agency. Now, based on our goals for this season, I would say things went exactly according to plan. We were one of the worst teams in the entire league, 25th to be exact. I would have preferred if we were a little bit worse, just so we had a higher draft pick. But you know what? I'll take a top 10 pick for sure. The Blackhawks were showing a lot of flashes this season. Bedard, 41 goals, 44 assists for 85 points. He's up to a 95 overall. Levshinov had 48 points this season. He's up to an 86 overall. Kevin Korchinski, I better check in on you as well. You're up to an 83 overall. So the development is looking good for a lot of these guys. Oliver Moore is up to an 80 overall. There is a lot of potential with this team, and we're banking on that potential, especially Spencer Knight, because I want him to be our goaltender of the future. He's up to an 88 overall. Things are looking good for this team, but they could look significantly better, especially if we got the first overall pick. Like, we know for a fact the worst team isn't getting the first overall, so maybe we can jump to the first. It doesn't look like it. Instead, Chicago's going to be dropping from 8 to 9. Calgary's going to get the third overall and the fourth overall. Barring what happens here, we might be making a play into the top 5. Okay, so remember how I said we were going to try to move into the top 5? Well, technically, the first overall pick is in the top 5. There is a franchise potential power forward. I think him and Connor Bedard could ruin the NHL together. So I'm going to throw this massive package at the Penguins that they're going to reject. I'll give you the 37th overall pick as well. They're still rejecting that. If they don't accept this package right here, I can't offer anything better. The 9th overall, the 24th overall, a future first rounder, the 37th overall, and the 40th overall, and they still still won't give me the first overall. You know what? I don't blame you, Pittsburgh. It's a generational player. So we'll simulate the first overall pick, an 82 overall power forward who has medium franchise potential. Bro's going to turn into a stud, and I already know it. So here's what I'm going to try to do instead. I couldn't get the first overall, but maybe we can get the 5th overall. That was way easier than expected. What exactly did I trade away? I know I gave up the 9th overall, but I believe I gave up the 40th overall as well. Or did I give up 2 first-round picks? Nope, I gave up the 9th overall and the 40th. Okay, that was definitely worth it. I was thinking we'd have to throw a lot more into that deal. Apparently not. So who we're going to be walking away with is Stenberg. Now, he's going to be a great playmaker who's going to eventually play alongside Connor Bedard. It's going to be Stenberg and Bedard on the top line. And then best case scenario is we also find a power forward that can play alongside those guys as well. But you know what? We might not be done with the trades yet. Because Ryan Rubrock, I know you have medium league potential for sure. So if I could trade for like the 8th overall pick, we can get another medium league potential player. And I don't think it would cost us too much to get the 8th overall. So what if I gave you the 24th overall and the 37th overall? Would that be enough to get the 8th overall pick? Seattle's going to be saying no to that. That's no surprise. But maybe I could throw a guy like Ryan Donato in this deal and then we can get this done. They're interested in Ryan Donato. He's willing to go there. We're getting a guy that's definitely going to help our future team. So I'm going to send this package over to Seattle. They're saying no. I feel like we're not that far off. So maybe it's going to cost us the 55th overall pick as well. I'll send that to Seattle. They're saying no. What about a future 2nd rounder? I'll give you Chicago a 2nd round pick for next season. Maybe that can make the difference. So it looks like we're walking away with the 8th overall from Seattle. So that means we're getting another great player. Now, who is that player going to be? Well, it's going to be Ryan Rubrock. We know for a fact he has medium league potential. This is going to be an absolute steal for us. He's going to be an amazing player to bring to the team. If you thought Chicago's young core wasn't good enough, well, we just add 2 more medium league potential players, and we still have a handful of picks left in the draft. Unfortunately, though, I doubt we're going to get anything with these picks. So after drafting Ryan Rubrock, the rest of the draft wasn't too notable for us, but 2 medium league potential players to add to our prospect pool. I think it's only a matter of time before we turn into a dynasty. With that being said, we can't rush the process here. We have to allow the young guys to develop. So let's not jump into free agency looking to spend a lot of money. We're not ready to win quite yet. So with the $37 million that we do have right now, I'm not looking to spend too much money. Foligno, Grizzly, Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson, Mikheyev, Lafferty. I think all of you guys are going to be walking. I'm looking to sign a handful of guys to 2-way contracts, but at the end of the day, do I really have to worry about signing them to 2-way contracts? We have more than enough cap space. I can give them all $1 million if I have to. So yeah, I'll go sign a handful of players and then we'll move into free agency and then maybe cook up a couple deals. But I know for a fact right now, we're not going to be signing many players to multi-year deals. So we got through the re-sign phase without having to spend a bunch of money. Now when it comes to extensions, we probably shouldn't have to spend too much here either. Lev Shanoff, I'll give you $6.7 million for the next 4 seasons. Sam Renzel, we're probably going to be looking at $3 million. I guess it's going to be cheaper than that. I'll do 2.2 for the next 3. Oliver Moore, I can't imagine you're asking for a lot of money. 2.2 for 1 season. Let's do multiple years. I'll do 2.5 for the next 2. So that's going to be keeping Oliver Moore around. And then honestly, outside that, we're probably just looking at a bunch of 2-way contracts. Because realistically, when it comes to Teravainen and Burakovsky, I honestly wouldn't be overly surprised if we just decide to write out both their contracts. Teravainen, though, we might trade you away because you might have a bit of value, but Burakovsky, we have to keep you here for the vibes. So we have to find a way to spend some money, and there's very few teams that have any organizational interest. We could go for a guy like Kevin Hayes and have him play on the bottom 6, but I don't really want to do that. Victor Arvidsson, you're one of our best options right now. Gustav Nyquist, I can bring you in and throw an absolute bag at you. Or do I just take on some bad contracts for this season, and then we try to get some picks on top of that? That could be the move. Now, best case scenario is Palat has so low of trade value that he basically has a negative trade value. So we could trade a 7th round pick and walk away with Brady Martin. Ideally, we don't have to give up that much in this deal. We might have to give up a better pick than a 7th, but if we can walk away with Brady Martin without having to give up too much, I think that's a big time steal. So I'll try 2 6th rounders instead. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Detroit's still going to be saying no. I guess the real question is Palat's trade value low enough where it's actually considered negative value? Because we could be in a position where it's not low enough where it's considered negative value. So maybe we just try Lewinsky in this deal instead, and I'll throw in a 7th rounder as well. Lewinsky's a 70 overall. He's 22 years old. Brady Martin right now is a 75 overall at 19 years old. So there's more room for him to develop. Hopefully this package right here is going to be enough. They're going to be rejecting it. I'll give you another 7th as well. So Lewinsky and 2 7th rounders for Palat and Brady Martin. I think this is a steal for us, and it looks like Detroit's going to be happy to accept this one. Alright, so here's the trade I'm looking at making. Teuvo Teravainen and a 6th round pick sent over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. For Onkoff, I think you could be a really good power forward. You just scored 39 goals last season. Yeah, we need to capitalize on that. Unfortunately, they're going to say no to this deal. I'm willing to throw Colton Dach into this deal if we have to, because I don't really think Colton Dach's part of this team's future, so I'll throw him into this package as well. Hopefully that's going to be enough for Voronkov. We need to add a bit more. I guess they need another 6th round pick. At the end of the day, I'm perfectly fine with trading 6th round picks away. Those picks in reality aren't that valuable. 7th round picks, on the other hand, that's a completely different conversation. Alright, so we do need to take a little bit more money on in order to reach the cap ceiling, and I think Claude Giroux could actually be a really good playmaker for us. Right now, we don't have any playmakers on the team, so Claude Giroux, here's 8.4 for 1 season. You better accept that deal. I know for a fact I'm outbidding everyone else. Now, the other free agent signing is going to be Gustav Nyquist. Here's $6 million for 1 season. We need a playmaker, and we need to reach the cap floor, and you're going to fill both of those roles. Now, once again, we all have to remember, it's about the development of all the young guys here, and I think this team's going to see some great development. Frondell is going to continue to develop, Green's going to develop, Oliver Moore is going to develop, Connor Bedard, Voronkov. A lot of the young guys on this team are going to keep on developing. Vlasic, Lev Schnoff, Kevin Korchinski, Sam Renzel. Like, the entire defense is incredibly young here. And then, of course, when it comes to goaltending, Spencer Knight, if you want to progress a little bit more, you definitely can do that, but you are up to an 89 overall, so you're already off to an incredible start. But as we all know, Ryan Rubrock's joined the team next season. Stenberg's probably going to be joining the team next season. We're going to get another incredible prospect after we bottom out this season. Once we get all the players that we need on this team, a dynasty is going to be forming. Now, I must have just completely zoned out, but I just simulated the entire year and didn't stop at the trade deadline, but honestly, it doesn't really change too much because we weren't going to make any moves at the deadline regardless. The Chicago Blackhawks were very similar to last season, 25th in the entire league, a 38-38-6 record. I was hoping we were going to be worse than this, but we had a handful of guys lighting the lamp this season. Of course, Connor Bedard being one of them, 91 points this season, 47 goals and 44 helpers. Claude Giroux, 83 points. Voronkov's picking up 63. Probably should have gave him a contract extension before the beginning of the season, but you know what? We're still looking okay. Lev Schnoff picked up 56 points. He's up to an 87 overall. Oliver Moore, 52 points. He actually might turn into a really good second line centerman for us. I wasn't 100% sold on him at the beginning of this video, but he's looking pretty good right now. Frank Nazar, 45 points. He's up to an 85 overall. The team is looking good. A lot of the young guys are continuing to develop. We're going to have a handful of young guys jump into the lineup next season. I'm very excited to see what we're going to do. Spencer Knight's an 88 overall, mediumly potential still. I don't really care too much about the numbers. The only thing I care about is us somehow getting the first overall pick. We need to jump to the first overall pick. So wow, we actually did. Holy crap, we actually got the first overall pick. So we're getting Landon DuPont. Yeah, that happened. The Chicago Blackhawks are getting the first overall pick. We're going to get a franchise defenseman in Landon DuPont. We're set for the future. Like, this team is ready to dominate. We're building a dynasty. Nothing is going to stop us. We actually got the first overall pick. We really jumped from 8-1 to get the first overall pick. Okay, there's another player. He also has medium franchise potential. Okay, hear me out. We are likely going to select that player, but I'm calling a timeout here. What would it take in order for me to get the second overall pick as well? We know for a fact there's 2 medium franchise potential players. I am willing to trade quite a bit in order to get both of those players. Obviously, I'm not going to trade our first round pick for this season, but I will trade our first round pick for next season. I'll trade the 35th overall pick, and I will probably even trade a 2029 first round pick. Like, we are talking about 2 medium franchise potential players here. Those are generational. I think if we really want to get this deal done, though, we're going to have to do a 3-team trade, and I think that could be possible. All right, so here's what I'm going to try to do. A 2028 first round pick sent over to the San Jose Sharks. We get Belchez. Now, Belchez will end up being flipped over to the Montreal Canadiens in order for us to get the second overall pick as well. We're going to be making a lot of trades here. We're going to be giving up a lot of prospects. I don't really care though, because we are getting generational players. So Belchez, I'll throw you in this deal. I'll throw in the 35th overall and a future second rounder. And if I have to throw in a future first round pick, I'm willing to do so, because I really doubt this is going to be enough for the second overall pick. Wow, what a steal. Okay, so we have the first overall and the second overall. With the first overall, we're going to draft this centerman right here, who's going to have medium franchise potential. He's a medium franchise potential sniper. And then with the second overall pick, we're going to get another medium franchise potential player, this one being Landon DuPont. So we're set for basically the rest of this video. As long as I can build a competent team around all these medium franchise potential players, we're building a super team. Now, our plan was certainly not to bring back Claude Giroux, but we have $50 million in cap space. So bringing Claude Giroux back probably isn't the end of the world. I'll give him no movement because I'm likely not going to move on from him. I'll give him $10 million because we do need to reach the salary cap floor. So here you go, Claude Giroux, $10 million for 1 season. Voronkov, I'm not really too sure how much you're going to be looking for, but this is an incredible deal. So I'll do $5.7 million for the next 5 years. You're going to be sticking around. Gustav Nyquist, we honestly might need you on the team just to reach the cap floor. but you're not really looking for enough money, so I probably won't bring you back. Burakovsky, you're going to be leaving the team. We're losing a stick on the ice legend. And then after that, I have no clue how we're going to make up money. Claude Giroux is actually going to be rejecting that offer, so we do have to give him a bit more money, or I can promise him a first-line role or something. So I went ahead and negotiated with Claude Giroux. We're going to do $10 million for 1 season. I promised him a first-line role, and I can definitely give him that first-line role because we are going to need a playmaker up there. So yeah, after handing out those contracts, I don't know what we're going to do with the other $36 million we have. Soderblom, here's $800K. That doesn't really help us though. So we probably have to spend $16 million to reach the salary cap floor, and I think we need to bring 2 forwards to the team. So ideally, maybe we can find 2 $8 million players. However, I think that's easier said than done. Maybe we can bring in Jared Spurgeon to play a third pairing role. I think we actually might do that. Here's $8 million for 1 season. Spurgeon, welcome to the team. So that at least helps us when it comes to reaching the salary cap floor, but we do need to sign a couple forwards. So how about we make one of those forwards Vladimir Tarasenko? I only want to do 1 year, but how about I give you $6 million? You know what? How about we make that $7 million just because we're closer to $7 million now? Vladimir Tarasenko, welcome to the team for 1 season. And then we'll bring in 1 other guy as well. Well, Gustav Nyquist, you were pretty solid with the team last season, so how about I bring you back for another year and I give you like $6 million? I'll do $6.7 million for 1 season. Our team should be complete now because we have a handful of young guys jumping into the lineup. Once again, it's not about competing for a Stanley Cup this season. It's about letting the young guys develop. Next season, though, we're taking that next step. Now, I think this might be the last season of the rebuild before we really start competing for Stanley Cups. We have a handful of guys that have really developed and are turning into stars. We've done an incredible job drafting over the last couple seasons. Levshov and Kevin Korchinski are just about ready to lead the defense. Land Dupont's going to be joining our defense. We have another medium franchise potential player joining our forward core. There's a lot of things to be excited about when it comes to this Chicago Blackhawks team, but we have to give it 1 more year. I'm not saying we can't make the playoffs because there is a possibility we can do that. I just highly doubt it. Also, one thing we will have to start focusing on is bringing in a really good playmaker, because Claude Giroux, respectfully, you're not part of this team's future, nor do I think you're the guy. No, at this point, I am just completely bugging. It's the trade deadline. Somehow I'm just simulating through it. I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently I am just so oblivious to it asking me whether or not I'm a buyer or a seller. I just hit continue simming. I have now done this twice in a row. Luckily we weren't going to make any moves at the deadline anyway, so it doesn't affect anything once again. However, that is now the second time I've done that. Now I gotta tee up right now. I gotta lock in. No more skipping the trade deadline. We actually could use the trade deadline. Not really, but yeah, I probably should stop at it from time to time. In like 3 seasons, I just started simulating the entire year, and then we never stopped at the deadline again. So this was the final year of us not competing for Stanley Cups. Moving forward, we're ready to take over the NHL. The Chicago Blackhawks were actually better this season. They were actually way better than I thought. A 39, 33, and 10 record. Granted, overtime losses helped us quite a bit here. 18th in the entire league really isn't too bad, especially since we really weren't trying to compete this season. Connor Bedard, 77 points, 46 goals, and 31 helpers. Claude Giroux, 76 points. Levshov, 61. Nakamura, you picked up 21 goals and 27 assists for 48 points. You're up to an 87 overall. I haven't really decided where I want to play you. Like, do I want to play you on the top line alongside Connor Bedard? I'm a little bit concerned that you might take shots away from him and you might take goals away from him, and we might be better off just splitting you guys up onto 2 different lines. We'll wait and see with that. I haven't really decided quite yet. Spencer Knight, you were great this season. 31 wins, 6 shots, a 918 to 275. Next season's going to be a historic year for Chicago. We're taking over. The Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions. They're taking down the Toronto Maple Leafs. I can guarantee that's Chicago in 3 years. Chicago's ready to take over the NHL. Ideally, we get another elite draft pick here. However, I doubt that's going to be the case. And it looks like our first round pick is going to San Jose because I completely forgot we traded our first round pick away. So thankfully, we were actually a good team this season, because that could have been a tough look. Why did I forget we traded that pick away? I have no clue. But yeah, that could have been very bad. Now, although we don't have a first or a second rounder, that doesn't mean we can't walk away with some elite potential players, because we're going to secure a low elite potential player who's starting off as a 49 overall. Unless Bro sees some crazy development, I don't think he's going to turn into too much. So we have $51 million heading into next season. Bertuzzi, Jared Spurgeon, Tarasenko, Nyquist, all of you guys are going to be walking. I have a plan heading into this free agency. Now, how well is this plan going to work out for us? I have absolutely no clue. But in my head, I think this plan is going to work out. We'll basically bring everyone back to the team that's willing to sign a cheap deal. But when it comes to the moves we're making over the offseason, we're going to get aggressive. Alright, so here's the big plan I have heading into free agency. Now, what we need to do is bring a superstar playmaker to the team. And you know what? I think Will Smith could be that superstar playmaker. Yes, he's a centerman, but let's just say we move him to the right wing and he plays alongside Connor Bedard. That's going to be a super line right there. Unfortunately, though, he is an RFA, so we're not going to be be able to get him. Except we 1000% still could get him, because we can just offer sheet him. But I guess the real question is, what would be easier, offer sheeting Will Smith or just trading for him? Because if we offer sheet, more than likely we're giving up 4 first-round picks. If we gave up 3 first-round picks, could we get Will Smith? Because just looking at his trade value right now, 3 first-round picks is probably enough to get Will Smith. So I'll give up a 2029 first-round pick and then a 2030 second-round pick, and that actually might be enough for Will Smith. If we can walk away with Will Smith for a first-rounder and 2 second-rounders, we're fleecing the Sharks. That is one of the best moves we've made so far. Now, Will Smith will have to play out of position, but I don't think he's going to care too much about playing on the right wing. So after picking up Will Smith, I would like to do an 8-year deal with him. He's only looking for 7, but what if we did 8? Yeah, we can definitely get 8 years done. So I'll do $12 million for the next 8 seasons. I think that's an absolute steal for him. Him and Connor Bedard on the top line. No, that's a super line right there. Kevin Korchinski also needs to sign an extension, but we can definitely do this. We have $62 million in cap space. I'm not really worried about the money right now. So Kevin Korchinski, here's 5.3 for the next 4 years. Oliver Moore, you're not interested in signing an extension, so maybe we trade you. Hold on, we might be onto something here. Now, Frondell, don't get me wrong. I think you're an amazing player and you have a lot of potential. Like, you're only 21 years old right now. There's lots of time for you to develop. However, Cutter Gaucher on the top line alongside Connor Bedard and Will Smith. Yeah, that's an amazing first line that we can certainly build around. And he's under contract for the next 4 years at 5.7. This is a no-brainer. Oliver Moore, I'm going to throw you into this deal as well, but we might be able to get something else back. Like, Seneca would not be a bad pickup here. He could play some good second-line minutes. I think that's what we're going to try to do. Frondell and Oliver Moore for Cutter Gaucher and Seneca. I think this is the best deal we can make. They're going to be rejecting that, but of course, we have draft picks. And as you all know, I'm not scared to trade away draft picks. We are trading picks for players who are going to help us right now. They're going to be rejecting this deal. Maybe we don't get Seneca. Maybe I just do Frondell and Oliver Moore for Cutter Gaucher. I'll offer that package over. They're saying yes. And I guess we could circle back now. Because what if I give you Voronkov and you give me Seneca? Like, Seneca is younger. He's only 22 years old. Voronkov's 27, and they're basically the exact same overall. It's a difference of 1 overall. Seneca, welcome to the team. We're going 1 for 1. Now, I really like what we're building right now, and we still have a lot of cap space. Dylan Strome, I'm interested. $14.8 million for 3 seasons. We have the cap space for you. We can certainly afford you. I like this deal. Now, after making that deal, we better sign a couple cheap players on 1-year deals. Zetterlund, we can bring to the team for $5.8 million. That doesn't hurt us too much, but we can't do any more multi-year deals. Patty Kane, welcome back to Chicago. Here's $3.5 million for 1 season. That's a no-brainer. And then ideally, we can bring in 1 more cheap player here. I'm not sure who that's going to be. Luosterainen, that wouldn't be too bad, but you're looking for multiple seasons. Gavin Brindley, I'm assuming you're an RFA. Of course, that's the case. Who else can we find on a cheap 1-year deal? Vladimir Tarasenko is only looking for $2.2 million. Sale, we can't bring to the team, but we could trade for him. And I wouldn't mind trading for Sale. So here's what we're going to do. Preedham sent over to Seattle. We bring in Sale. Sale can play some amazing bottom 6 minutes for us. He's going to be an elite 3rd-line player. Of course, we have to give up the lucrative 7th-round pick, but I'm perfectly fine with that. And then, of course, after picking up Sale, we're going to re-sign him to the team. We're going to do multiple years. I'm looking at 3 years at $1.8 million or something. I think that's a really good deal that keeps him around at a cheap price. And you never know, he might develop into a stud for us. Also, with guys like Wyatt Kaiser and Allen, of course, I'll re-sign him to the team. $1.4 million, that's a cheap deal. Nolan Allen, I'm assuming you're looking for the exact same. He wants a little bit less than that. We'll do $900K on a 2-way contract. That works for me. Now, unfortunately, Will Smith's going to be rejecting our offer, which is a little bit surprising. Dylan Strome will accept, though. I'm actually very surprised Will Smith was saying no. Like, we were giving him more than enough. Like, I was almost giving you exactly what you were looking for. Okay, are we somehow saving money in this deal now? If we did 8 years, he's looking for 11.3. I'll do $12 million for the next 8. I think that's enough to bring Will Smith back to the team. Yes, I'm adding an additional season, but I'm giving you more money. So I guess we'll find out if Will Smith's going to be accepting that deal. Okay, I'll just give you 7 years. So it appears Will Smith will not accept an 8-year contract, so we're gonna have to do 7 seasons. But I mean, we saved $2 million by doing this. So here you go, Will Smith. I'll give you exactly what you want. Now, if he comes back and says I didn't meet his clauses, that's very stupid, but we don't have to worry about that. Will Smith, welcome to the team. Now, I was about to get ready for next season, but I forgot about somebody. Spencer Knight. How on earth could I forget about Spencer Knight? Let's lock him down for the next 7 years at $8.6 million. He's one of the key players here. We definitely need him. Now, for the next handful of years, this is the core that we're rocking. It's superstar on superstar here. 90 overall on 90 overall. The team is looking incredible. Len DuPont's ready to make his debut at an 85 overall. The defense is looking better. The only issue I have with the defense, offensive defenseman, offensive defenseman, defensive defenseman, offensive defenseman. I think we might have too many offensive defensemen here. So Kevin Korchinski, don't be surprised if you're traded eventually. Spencer Knight, you're an 89 overall. We know what you're capable of. This is the best team you've had in front of you. This team is going to live or die by their offense. In theory, the offense should be incredible on this team based on all these elite scorers we have. When it comes to the bottom six, I just need these guys to play the role, and I'm pretty confident they can do that. So it's time for us to finally make the playoffs. It's time for us to finally go on a deep run and show the league the new Chicago Blackhawks. And while we do that, I will remember to stop at the trade deadline. Probably not though, but at least I'll attempt to. So I remember to stop at the trade deadline. It's a glorious day because who would have thought I would remember that? Right now, things are looking good for the Blackhawks. 8th in the entire league, a 33-21-7 record. The defense is fantastic, 2.82, but I was kind of hoping their offense would be better, like 3.13 goals per game. I'm expecting significantly better than this. I don't know why Chicago can't score goals, because we have elite goal scorers here. Dylan Strome is leading the way, and then Will Smith is second on the team in scoring. Bedard, what are you doing? You're here to score goals, and you're not scoring goals for me. Nakamura, you're also not scoring goals. Like, you're a franchise potential sniper, and you're not scoring me goals. I don't know why both these guys took a step back this season. I guess that's just the way she goes. But the team is seeing success, and that's what we were looking for. When it comes to goaltending, Spencer Knight, 30 wins, 2 shutouts, a 919, a 257. You're holding up your end of the bargain right now. I'm not really too sure if I want to make any trades, though. Like, as much as I think our team is ready to compete, and I do think we could win a Stanley Cup, I don't know if we have the assets. I have traded a lot of draft picks away. I have traded a lot of young players away. We don't have a ton left here. I mean, we do have Stenberg and we do have Ryan Rubrock, but I think both of those guys could be bottom 6 players for us next season, so I don't really want to trade them away quite yet. Kevin Korchinski, on the other hand, I might consider moving you, especially if we can get a good defensive defenseman. So Kevin Korchinski, I've made up my mind. We don't need more offensive defensemen on this team. We need some more defensive defensemen, and Mikey Anderson, you fit that role perfectly. You're an 86 overall. I think you could fit perfectly on the top line. We're also going to get a 3rd and 4th rounder as well. Honestly, Korchinski, this has nothing to do with whether or not you're a good player. I think you're an amazing player. However, we just don't need more offensive defensemen here. We need more of a defensive guy, and that's what Mikey Anderson is going to be for us. Now, Chicago is certainly going to have their hands full in their first round matchup. 8th in the entire league, a 44-30-8 record. And who do we have to take on in the first round? Well, we're taking on the Dallas Stars because they were 2nd in the Central Division after the Colorado Avalanche won 60 games. So regardless of what happens here, we're going to be in tough. Connor Bedard, 36 goals and 38 assists for 74 points. I'm going to keep it a stack. Bro was disappointing this season. I think moving forward, Cutter Gaucher, I'm going to move you down to the second line. Nakamura, I am moving you up to the top line. I wasn't 100% sure on how you and Connor Bedard would work alongside each other, but I think we got to try it out. You have medium franchise potential. I need to see if you can live up to that potential. I also don't know if us having like as many centermen on our team is actually hurting us. Like Will Smith, having you play on the right wing, I feel like that really shouldn't hurt your development. I feel like that shouldn't hurt your production. We're not going to overlook things though. Spencer Knight, 36 wins, 2 shots, a 913, a 280. I hope you're ready for your first round matchup because things certainly aren't going to be easy on us. As I mentioned, we're taking on the Dallas Stars. They're one of the best teams in the entire league. If we can get past Dallas though, then we have Colorado. So yeah, regardless of what happens here, it's a tough road ahead. Like, I can't imagine having Will Smith play as a winger is really hurting us too much. Maybe it's better if the playmaker is a centerman though. Maybe we should move Connor Bedard to the wing. I feel like that really wouldn't affect anything at the end of the day. Like, it's a simulation. I highly doubt having a centerman played right wing minutes for us is really going to be stopping their production. Through the first 2 games, we were able to split those, but now we're winning game 3 and we're winning game number 4. The Blackhawks are rolling right now. Can we win game number 5 and move on to the second round? Because that would be an amazing start to this video. All right, the boys are rolling. Maybe I was overthinking things too much, and hold on, just wait a minute. Minnesota in the second round. I was fully expecting Colorado, but Minnesota does have a good team. We definitely can't sleep on them. They're going to put up a big fight against us, but we're winning game number 1. Can we win game 2 as well? It doesn't look like it. We dropped back-to-back games. It better not be 3 straight games. Luckily, our offense is going to wake up. Game 5 is going to be a big one. We need to find a way to win that one. It's probably the most important game of this series, and we're going to win 8-1. The offense is flying. Win me game number 6, and we're moving on to the conference finals. I don't know if we're going to be able to be stopped. The Blackhawks are just rolling right now. They have figured it out. The offense is going crazy. We swept Nashville and we're in the Stanley Cup final. So all that talk about me questioning whether or not Will Smith should be one of our wingers, all that doubt is out the window now. We're in the Stanley Cup final. Clearly it works. So it's all coming down to this series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Can we take down the Maple Leafs and become Stanley Cup champions? Well, after winning game 1, we've lost 3 in a row, so we have to make a big time comeback. So that comeback starts right here, game number 5. We need to find a way to score some goals, and we are not doing that until now. We've now scored back-to-back goals, but I need a big time third period. That's just not going to happen. The Maple Leafs are going to outscore us, and we're going to fall in 5 games in the Stanley Cup final. Considering everything though, this was a pretty good first postseason appearance. We made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final where we lost in 5 games. You know for a fact this team's going to be back. Like at the end of the day, 99% of this team is signed for next season, and you already know those guys are ready to go crazy. Dylan Strome, Frank Nazar, Nakamura, Connor Bedard, Will Smith. The boys were looking incredible. Maybe we have to change up the coaching staff a little bit. We'll do what we have to, but I think our core is set in stone for a while. Also, shout out to the AHL affiliate for winning the Calder Cup. The boys stepped up when it mattered. Now, we might not have a ton of draft picks to work with here, but that doesn't mean we can't get some elite potential players. We're securing a medium-league potential goaltender. I just want to point out he's only 17 years old right now, so if you're drafting a goaltender at 17, more than likely they're going to develop into a star. So in 5 years time, who knows, we might have a replacement for Spencer Knight. So we made it to the Stanley Cup final, but unfortunately we just couldn't win those final games. We lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we're going to be back because we're not really losing anyone of value. Patrick Kane's leaving the team, Zetterlund's leaving the team. Crevier, we can probably bring you back on a cheap deal. Here's a 2-way contract for you, and that's it. We're going to have some young guys step into the lineup, and then we're going to take over the league. Also, Soderblom, here's $900K. You're a great backup for us. Now we have $26 million in cap space, so Nakamura, your extension's not going to hurt us. However, I do want to do multiple years, so I think we're going to hold off. I don't really want to do a 2-year deal with you. Seneca, you played great bottom 6 minutes, and at this price tag, I'm definitely not going to say no. 3.1 for the next 2, that's an absolute steal. Alex Vlasic, you're a great defensive defenseman for us, so I want to make sure you're sticking around as well. We'll do 5.9 for the next 4 years. I'll give you a 4-team no trade. That's going to work out pretty well for us. And then Stenberg, Ryan Rubrock, what are we looking at if we did multiple years? 8 years, you want 5.6 million, so we're obviously not going to do that. But I could do 2 years at 1.5 million. Actually, I'll make that 1.6 million for the next 2 years. Stenberg, you're going to be great on the bottom 6. And then Ryan Rubrock, where are you looking for? 2 years at $2 million. What if we did 3 years? Then you would want 2.8. I can do a 2x2 with you. So we're keeping everyone around on some amazing contracts. Ryan Rubrock, you're probably going to have to play some right wing minutes, but we'll find a way to make it work. Now, Ryan Rubrock, I was just talking about how you're going to be a good piece for us. I've changed my mind. I'm going to package up you along with a 3rd round pick. We're going to try to trade for Woods. Now I'm going to have a couple conversations with Woods because what I want to do is move him over to the right wing. I don't know if he's going to be willing to adapt to a right wing role, but if he is, that would be ideal for us. I mean, at the end of the day, if he doesn't adapt, I'm just going to play him on the right wing regardless. I don't really care what his position is. Like, I can easily move a centerman to one of the wings. I'm not moving a winger to centerman. It's just not quite as easy. Ryan Rubrock and 3 3rd round picks aren't really enough here, which is kind of surprising based on trade value. So what if I give you 2 3rd rounders and a 2nd round pick? Is that going to be enough? Okay, we're doing a 3-team trade. Let's just make this easy on ourselves. So Minnesota, how about you give me 2 1st round picks for Ryan Rubrock? Now we'll flip those 1st round picks. And maybe if we're lucky, we don't have to give up both 1st rounders. Best case Ontario is we only have to give up 1 1st round pick and a 2nd. I don't think that's quite going to be enough though, and it doesn't look like it. But what we should maybe do here is trade Chicago's 1st round picks and hold on to Minnesota's, because I'm very confident what Chicago's going to do this season. We're going to be an elite team. Minnesota, on the other hand, things could collapse for them. So we'll do 2 1st rounders and a 3rd rounder. That's still not enough for Woods. I'll throw in another 3rd round pick, and if that's not enough, we'll go to a 2nd. I don't really want to give up 3 1st round picks in this deal, but honestly, that might happen. Like, I'm hoping that this package is going to be enough for Woods. They're saying no. All right, we're doing 3 1st round picks. I'll give up Minnesota's 1st round pick for this season, assuming they're going to be worse next season. This is crazy work. 4 1st round picks. I'm going to try this 2nd rounder first, but if I have to give up 4 1st round picks, Woods better turn into the greatest player of all time. You better turn into the next Wayne Gretzky if I'm giving up all this. Also, it's kind of crazy, but we do need to bring in somebody on a 1-year deal. I guess that's going to be Nazem Kadri. We need to reach the cap floor somehow, so here's 9.1 million. So last season's I had my questions about the top 6. Those questions are now gone. This team's looking incredible. We still have a lot of young guys on this team that are developing. Len Dupont's up to a 92, Levshunov an 89. The defense is spectacular. Goaltending's amazing. Last season we lost in the Stanley Cup final. That won't happen again. We're going to get our revenge. All right, Chicago, you're starting to disappoint me a little bit. Like, I know for a fact you guys should be better than this. 13th in the entire league, a 34-24-5 record. We were supposed to take the next step, and that just hasn't happened. And the main reason for that is we're not scoring goals this season. I don't know why our offense just can't score. I'm thinking we need a new head coach. I don't think our head coach is good enough. Like, offensively, we should just be way better than this. Nakamura, 37 points this season. You're 90 overall. Dylan Strome, you're minus 14 this season. Are you just regressing like crazy? It doesn't look like it. Why are we not seeing success? Frank Nazar, I guess you're not looking the greatest on the second line right now. But our second line, consisting of a 90 overall, an 88 overall, and an 85 overall Frank Nazar, should be a lot more successful than what they are right now. I don't know why they're struggling as much as they are, because they certainly shouldn't be. Like, the team has a lot of good pieces on paper. Spencer Knight, 29 wins, 6 shots, a 918 to 265. You're doing everything in your power to help us win games. I don't think we have to shake things up, because last season we made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final. I think the forward core that we have is good enough. I think we just need a new coach. So with that being said, I think we're just going to ride out the team that we have this season. We're not going to make any big moves because I like what we have. We'll just change coaches heading into next season unless we go on some crazy run and win a Stanley Cup. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, I have been asking these guys to add a secondary position, but sometimes they just don't want to add secondary positions. This is the second time I've asked you to become a right winger and you just refuse to do that. So I'm just going to keep you as a centerman and put you on the right wing. We can keep this simple by adding secondary positions, or I can just force you to play there. Alright, I think I should just stop questioning this team. Fourth in the entire league, a 48, 27, and 7 record. Then again, only 35 of our wins came in regulation, so that is a little bit of cause for concern. Like, we should be winning games in regulation. We can't have a majority of our wins coming in overtime or a shootout, because that just proves that we're not a good 5-on-5 team. If we need 3-on-3 overtime and shootouts to win our games, then clearly we have some problems. The offensive numbers were looking okay this season. Goaltending is looking spectacular. But yeah, I think we need a new head coach. We need an offensive-oriented head coach that's going to lead to some more offense. Because right now, the offense just isn't cutting it. Now that I've said that, I can't wait for our offense to step up in the postseason. Last postseason, the offense was flying. We were scoring a ton of goals, and that's the reason we made it to the Stanley Cup final. So maybe that's going to happen again. It's either that, or we're not going to score any goals at all. We've scored 2 goals through the first 2 games. Yeah, that solidifies things. We need a new head coach here. We need somebody that's going to allow this offense to actually score some goals, because 5 goals in 4 games, that's not going to cut it. So we're bringing in a new head coach next season. The coaching staff's changing a little bit because that's the reason we lost. We have all the talent in the world on the Chicago Blackhawks team, but 5 goals over the course of 4 games, that's not going to cut it here. Meanwhile, Spencer Knight, you posted a 916 while having a 303. Not only were we not producing offensively, we did not play any defense. Like, bro was facing 36 shots a game. Clearly, we were not playing any defense. Also, it seems like things actually did work out for us. Nakamura is now willing to play left wing. I guess we'll see if that helps. His production. Meanwhile, with Will Smith, will you play right wing? No, you will not. Bro refuses to become a right winger even though I'm forcing him to play there. Nah, this just makes me sick. The Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup champions. They're going back to back while we're losing in the first round. It's not right. Now, I think we might have found a pretty good goaltender in the draft. With the 70th overall pick, a medium elite potential goaltender starting off as a 67 overall. I do want to point out this goaltender that was selected 2 picks earlier. Yes, he's 17 years old, but he's only a 47 overall. So our guy might be 2 years older, however, he is 20 overalls higher. Also, I'm not really too sure if this guy's going to turn into too much, but he is a gem, low top 4 potential, starting off as a 65 overall. I'm going to keep my eye on this guy. Actually, I changed my mind. He's 20 years old. He's not turning into anything. Now, Nakamura, earlier you were willing to sign an extension with the team. Now it seems like you're not interested. However, I still think we can get something done. You're looking for 12.3 for the next 5 years. What if we did 8 years and I give you a no movement? Like, is that going to pique your contract interest? Not quite enough, so I think we'll just stick with those 5 seasons. We'll do 5 seasons at 11.5 million. I think we actually have to do a bit more than 11.5, so how about 11.7 for the next 5 years? Nakamura's going to be sticking around. Renzel, I already know you're looking for way too much, so I'll qualify you as an RFA. And then with everyone else, you already know what the drill is. 2-way contracts. Now, we shouldn't have to make too many moves here. Land Dupont, of course, we have to give you an extension. That's going to be one of our big moves. You're looking for 8 years, and honestly, that's perfect. Because we probably should be able to re-sign you for $12 million for the next 8 years. That's going to lock you down for a long time. And you know what? We actually might be able to do a little bit less than 12 million. How about we do 11.8 for the next 8 years? Land Dupont, welcome back to the team. And then Levshinov, I'll throw you a massive bag as well. Let's do 8 years and I'll give you a no movement. So Levshinov's sticking around as well. Can we do 9 million for the next 8? Yes, we can. Yeah, we're re-signing everyone to incredible deals. Dylan Strome, you're going to be walking after this season. Mikey Anderson, I like you as a left defenseman, and we're going to pay you accordingly. So how about you take 6.3 for the next 4 years? You're going to be sticking around. Renzel, I'm going to trade you away. Sale, hopefully I can keep you around, but you're looking for 3.1, so I think you can walk. As of right now, we have all the big time players signed, and that's exactly what we were looking for. Green, maybe I can bring you back to the team. 1.2 million is an absolute steal, and then with everyone else, I'm not too worried. We have all the core pieces signed. Now we're kind of in an interesting position right now because I do believe that we basically have everyone we need on this team. However, I need some players to pick up some secondary positions. Will Smith, I need you to pick up a secondary position. Woods, I need you to pick up a secondary position. I need both of you guys to pick up a right wing position. If you do that, we're going to be looking incredible. Also, Tage Thompson's only looking for 1 season. I understand he's not really interested in joining our organization based on his organizational interest. However, I'll give you $13 million for 1 season. I'm going to overpay you. Hopefully that's going to be enough to convince you to join the team, because if we can bring in Tage Thompson for this season, then why can't we win a Stanley Cup? You might as well just give us the Stanley Cup right now. We are about to cook the league. Now this team has all the potential in the world. I just need them to all figure it out at the same time. Stenberg, I can guarantee you next season you're taking over as our second line playmaker. Woods, I'm really hoping you pick up a secondary position of right wing. If you do that, you're going to be jumping into a top 6 role. This team has so much potential, it's ridiculous. Whether or not they live up to that potential, we're about to find out. Like Spencer Knight, Soderblom, you guys know what you have to do. Basically the same thing you've been doing every season now. I guess there is only one concern I might have with this team. Is our left side defense a little bit weak? Like 285s and a 79. Maybe we should try to make that a little bit better. But then again, 89 Levshunov, 93 DuPont. We should be able to make it work. Also, remember how a couple seasons ago I said within 3 years more than likely we're going to be skipping over the trade deadline? We've reached that point. The team we have right now is the team we're sticking with. Let's go ahead, simulate to the end of the season, then go win a Stanley Cup. Alright Woods, I've reached the point where I don't really care whether or not you pick up right wing as a secondary position. That's where you're playing next season, regardless if you want to play there or not. Now, it looks like all we needed was a new coach. First in the entire league, a 57, 23, and 2 record, but the most impressive thing, 4 goals per game. The offense completely woke up for this team. We had the best offense and the best defense in the NHL. Now we just need all of that to gel in the postseason. Will Smith, 101 points. Connor Bedard, 87 points. Nakamura, 83 points. Tage Thompson, 40 points. I kind of hope we can keep Tage Thompson around. I highly doubt it's going to be possible, but I would love for him to stay on this team. When it comes to goaltending, you already know Spencer Knight was an absolute superstar. We're heading into our first round matchup where we're going to take on the Winnipeg Jets. The way Chicago's playing right now, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop them, but at the end of the day, it's a 7-game series. Anything can happen. So I need the boys to lock in here. I need 4 wins in the first round, then 4 wins in the second, 4 wins in the conference finals, and 4 wins in the cup final. However, let's take this one game at a time because we're dropping game number 1. That is not a good start. Luckily, we are going to respond in game 2. It's been a low scoring series. Hopefully we can change that, and we sort of did change that by just allowing a lot more goals. So yeah, we're down 3-1. Things were looking amazing. And then the postseason start. We are the President's Trophy winners, by the way. Luckily, we are going to win game number 5. Can we win game 6 and force game 7? I need the offense to keep on scoring goals, and that's just not going to happen. Back-to-back seasons where we've been a first-round exit. After all those seasons of tanking at the beginning of this video, and all the big-time trades we made, I wasn't expecting back-to-back first-round exits after making the Cup final in our first year. Well, I guess we can celebrate the Ice Hogs winning another Calder Cup, but at the end of the day, it's not a Stanley Cup. We are here to win Stanley Cups, and we didn't do that this season. I don't know what happened to this team in the playoffs, but we just completely folded. The defense vanished, the offense vanished. This team was just nowhere to be seen. At the end of the day though, even though we lost in the first round, nothing's changing. 90% of this team is being brought back for next season because I believe in all the players we have. Dylan Strome, you will be leaving the team though. Woods, you're likely moving into a top 6 role. I have a plan for you. I just need you to be a part of this plan. And you being a part of this plan basically means you becoming a right winger. Just do it for me. It shouldn't be that hard. Also, I guess we should check in with Tage Thompson. And if we have a lot of money, I actually wouldn't be against bringing him back to the team. So Tage Thompson, how much are you looking at when it comes to an extension? That is Dylan Strome, not Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson, how much do you want here? 13.8 million. We have 21 million. The salary cap hasn't quite gone up yet. I'll do a quick negotiation with you and we'll see what happens. All right, so after a great negotiation with Tage Thompson, he will return to the team at 11.8 million for the next 4 seasons. I'm giving him a 20-team no movement. In the future, you will likely be traded away. Like, you've already dropped to exact top 6 potential, but I believe you have some good years left in you, and I want to get those good years out of you. Now, I don't think this draft is really going to be cooking up for us too much, so I think this medium top 4 potential defenseman might be the best thing we walk away with. He's only a 50 overall, so can I really expect too much from him? Not really, but there is still the possibility he might see some crazy development. Now, at first, I was actually excited about this player right here. Low lead potential, and he was a gem, and then I found out he was a grinder. So we basically just wasted a pick right there. Now we're left with $10 million, but we're not going to do too much during the re-sign phase. Dylan Strome, you're going to be leaving the team. Renzel, maybe we can do something cheap with you now. It doesn't look like it. So I'll qualify you as an RFA, but this time you will be traded away. Sale, maybe we can do something cheap. You want 2.8 million. I don't really know if we can afford that, so I'll qualify you as an RFA. Wyatt Kaiser, maybe I can keep you on the team. 2.5 million doesn't seem terrible, so that's what I'll do. 2.5 for the next 3. Nolan Allen, we can do a cheap deal with you as well. We'll do 1.4 for the next 2, and then with everyone else, we're probably going to be looking at two-way contracts or very cheap contracts. Now this is where things could get a little bit complicated for us. We have a handful of guys that need extensions, and they want a lot of money, starting with Connor Bedard. Right now, he wants $15 million for the next 2 years. We only have $24 million to work with. I don't think that's really going to work for us. Cutter Gaucher, you want 11.8 for the next 6. I don't hate that deal, so we can probably do it. However, I do want to save a little bit of money, so how about 10.8 for the next 6 seasons? So after that deal, we're left with around 13 million. So I don't know how we're going to be able to afford the rest of these guys. Stenberg, I'd like to move you into a top 6 role, but you're looking for 6.6 for the next 2. I don't know if I can do that. Woods, I want to make you a second line player, but you're just not helping me. Luckily, a majority of these guys are RFAs, so if we are unable to sign them, we do have the rights still. However, I want to do more years with Bedard. I want to do more years with Stenberg. Woods, I would like to do multiple years with you. A lot of these guys just aren't helping me right now. So I think we'll hold off on a lot of big moves right now. And I guess we'll just see how this season goes. So this is what I think we're going to do with Sam Renzel. We're going to send him over to the Buffalo Sabres. Helenas in a 4th round pick is going to be acquired. There's one right winger for the bottom 6. Now the other right winger for the bottom 6 is going to be coming from the Boston Bruins, and that's going to be Liam Greentree. We could use a couple more right wingers on the team, but I think he's going to fit the role perfectly. Hopefully we can go 1 for 1 here. It doesn't look like it. They need a 7th round pick. So here you go, Boston. Here's a 7th round pick. And just like that, we got another deal done. And I think that might be the last move of the offseason. Now with a handful of the young guys on this team continuing to develop and us having more 90 overalls this season, I can only assume we're not going to completely fold in the first round of the postseason. Like this team right here should never lose in the first round of the postseason. Truthfully, we should probably sweep the first round every season and the real playoffs start in the second round. So Chicago, you better figure it out moving forward. Also, now that the season's officially started, I will check in with Connor Bedard, and I'm really hoping he's willing to sign for more than 2 seasons now. However, the problem is if he does want to sign for more than 2 seasons, we don't have the money for him, but we do have his RFA rights, so eventually we will bring him back to the team. Now, you know, when I've reached this point, I'm serious. No messing around. We are all about winning Stanley Cups when I bring this method out. No face cam, no looking at regular season stats. We simulate the entire postseason and we watch this team win. We have split the first 2 games. Whatever you do, don't lose in the first round for the 3rd straight season. We can't do that anymore. We have a 3-1 series lead. All you have to do is win 1 more game and we can move on, and that's exactly what Chicago's doing. We're moving on to the 2nd round. Now, I will say, Dallas is the lone team I'm scared of. Dallas is actually a very good team. We are getting smoked. That was an absolute disaster. Hold on, wait a minute. Maybe it's not a complete disaster. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Y'all need to win a Stanley Cup. You cannot afford to lose a Stanley Cup now. We're off to the Stanley Cup final. The Pittsburgh Penguins are in front of us. We will not lose. We got shut out in the first 2 games. We were down 3-0 and we made the comeback against the Dallas Stars. Now all you have to do is beat the Pittsburgh Penguins and we are going to smoke this team. Yeah, the reason I was scared of the Dallas Stars is for valid reason. Now, as we can all see, they put up a big fight against us in the first round. That's because they were the best team in the entire league with 58 wins. We won 56 games this season, and we still weren't the best team. Dallas was really about it, but the Chicago Blackhawks are finally Stanley Cup champions. Cutter Gaucher, 103 points. Will Smith, 88. Connor Bedard, 85. Nakamura, he's picking up 83. The team was just flying. Stenberg, we need to bring you back to the team. Connor Bedard, we need to bring you back to the team. Tage Thompson, I think there's actually a very high probability I trade you. I'm just going to keep it a stack, bro. I don't think you're a part of this team's future. You helped us win this 1 Stanley Cup, but we need Stenberg, we need Connor Bedard, and I would like to bring back Woods. But the only way we can do all of that is if Tage Thompson is traded. Will Smith, 28 points in the playoffs. Connor Bedard, 25 points. Nakamura, 24. I am terrified to see what the Connor Bedard extension's looking like, but we will find a way to get it done. Spencer Knight, 16 wins, 1 shutout, a 906 and a 285. The Chicago Blackhawks are back on top. Stanley Cup champions once again. We'll simulate a couple days just so the salary cap can go up. I guess we only had to simulate 1 day. Now, Connor Bedard, What do you want to do here? You're still interested in signing an extension with the team. How much are you looking for? 14 million for 1 season. We need to do 8 years. I need to do 8 seasons with you. I'll hold off until the re-sign phase. Hopefully he's going to be willing to change his mind. Stenberg, how much money do you want? 12 million for 1 season. Apparently players only want to sign 1-year deals. We just can't do that. So although I think Stenberg's an absolute stud and Connor Bedard is an absolute stud, we can't do 1-year deals. So I'm going to pray once we get to the re-sign phase, they're willing to sign like 8-year deals. Now it looks like the trend of us drafting medium elite potential goaltenders is going to continue. We're drafting another one with the 116th overall pick. It seems like that's the only thing we can draft right now. Medium elite potential goalies. Well, I mean, there is something else we can draft. And of course, that's going to be low elite potential players. We're securing one in the 4th round as well. All right, hopefully things are going to work out for us. Woods now has low franchise potential. Stenberg's an 87 with medium elite. And Connor Bedard, well, we know what Connor Bedard is. But can we do 8 years? Yes, we can, but it's going to cost all of our money. 14.2 for the next 8 seasons. Connor Bedard, welcome back to the team. Everyone else is being qualified as an RFA. Stenberg, I'm just curious on how much you're looking for. You want 14 million. More than likely, even if we trade Tage Thompson, we wouldn't have enough for you. Woods, I had high expectations. I thought you were going to be our #1 right winger in the future. It just didn't work out. Everyone's going to have to be qualified as an RFA. We're left with $1 million exactly in cap space. We can't really afford to do anything. The salary cap's officially caught up to us, but at least we won a Stanley Cup. And right after winning a Stanley Cup, when we thought things were looking good, our head coach retires. Thanks, Bruce Cassidy. All right, so unfortunately, you guys actually did miss a trade because my power went off and then I lost the recording. Luckily, it was only one trade you missed. Now, what that trade was Woods sent over to the LA Kings. Okay, hold on. Maddox Schultz now has low franchise potential. 90% of the time, he has medium franchise potential. Sorry, I just got distracted because I'm really contemplating trading for Maddox Schultz now because I think he'd be a very good playmaker for us. I think that's the move. Okay, but basically, I traded Woods. We got LA's 1st round pick. We also got Alexei Joseph in the deal, but Maddox Schultz, I am very interested in bringing you to the team now. Like, why have you dropped to low franchise potential? It doesn't make sense. We're going to trade Tage Thompson away, free up some money. Yeah, we're going to cook up a big deal. All right, so regardless of what happens here, we're getting absolutely fleeced. That's just the way it goes. I'm looking to get a 1st and 2 2nd-round picks for Tage Thompson and Stenberg. I highly doubt we're going to be able to walk away with this package. I'll take one of the 2nd-rounders out. We're likely trading both of these guys and potentially a draft pick for 1 1st-round pick. Like, this is ridiculous. We are getting fleeced in this deal. But you know what? We have to get this deal done. I need that 1st-round pick from the Rangers. We're a little bit off when it comes to trade value. I'll give you our 1st-round pick as well for 2033, but I want 2nd-round picks back. If I'm giving you a 1st, I need 2nd-rounders. They're saying no. Yeah, we're getting fleeced. This is a terrible trade. Do not make trades like this. I am doing this because I need to get a specific deal done. They're still saying it's not enough. Wow, this is a terrible deal. Don't do stuff like this. But it's all going to work out for us in the long run because now we're adding Maddox Schultz to the team and potentially something else. You know what? Let's just go 1 for 1. I'll give you the Rangers 1st-round pick that has quite a bit of value for Maddox Schultz. They're still saying no. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Here's 2 3rd-round picks. I'm trading every draft pick away because I want Maddox Schultz on the team. I'm giving you 2 4th-rounders as well. I'm basically giving you a top 5 pick, 2 3rd-rounders, and 2 4th-rounders for Maddox Schultz. It's still not enough. What else do you need? I mean, at the end of the day, I guess I could give you my 1st-round pick for 2034, and let's just keep this simple. And apparently, that's not simple enough. Here is a 6th-round pick as well. LA, do not get greedy. Now, through making all of those deals, we do have to free up a little bit of money for Joseph, but that honestly shouldn't be too difficult. So how we're going to free up some cap space is I'm going to send Frank Nazar over to the Seattle Kraken. We're going to bring in a 2nd and 3rd rounder, and then what we're going to do with that 2nd and 3rd rounder is we're going to package that up with Mikey Anderson, and we're hoping to pull off another big-time trade. Now, after trading Frank Nazar, what our next deal is going to be looking like is Mikey Anderson, a 3rd-round pick sent over to the St. Louis Blues. I guess we're going to have to give them a 2nd-round pick, but that's not the end of the world. We're going to be walking away with Theo Lindstein. Lindstein is going to be a good replacement on the 2nd pairing, but the main reason we made both of those deals is to free up money. Because through making all of these trades, I've had a plan since day one, and what that plan is bringing Alexei Joseph back to the team, but not for 1 season. We're doing 8 years with him. I'm going to give him an 8-year deal. I'm going to give him a no movement. He's going to play 2nd-line minutes for me, and he is going to turn into a stud. So hopefully 4.5 million is going to be enough for him. Realistically, it should be. His contract interest is almost maxed out. Alexei Joseph, I need you to turn into a star. I also need you to turn into a right winger, but we'll worry about that later. Also, we'll re-sign Bray Bukestad. He's a good right defenseman for us. He plays good 3rd pairing minutes. Here's 2.6 for the next 2. Now, before we head to next season, of course, we have to make a couple more trades. Why wouldn't we have to make more trades? It's going to be Seneca, Nolan Allen, and a 7th round pick. Hemming and Peyton Krebs are both being acquired because we need somebody to play on the bottom 6 for us. They're going to be rejecting that package. I guess I'll give you a 5th rounder as well. If I have to give you another 5th, I'll do that. I don't really care about the later round draft picks. We're getting scammed. Alexi Joseph already accepted a contract with us. I didn't show you guys. Hold on, wait a minute. Bro signed with us already. Alexi Joseph has already signed a contract with the team. What do you mean he's an RFA still? I gave him a contract. He literally accepted a contract like a minute ago. No, we just got scammed. I signed him to the greatest deal imaginable. Now we're looking at a 1-year deal. No, that's stupid. We got absolutely scammed, and I can only take the 2nd round pick. I can't match his offer. We don't have the money. No, that's stupid. He literally signed with the team. Also, if you think I'm just making stuff up, no, like he literally signed with the team. I accepted your offer enthusiastically. You met my contract clause expectations closely. This was an easy deal to sign. Bro signed with the team, and then we lost him. And this isn't him signing the offer sheet. This is before he signed the offer sheet. No, we got scammed. Like, plain and simple. We just got scammed. So heading into this upcoming season, it's going to be a disaster. We have nothing left. We traded a lot of picks to bring in guys like Alexi Joseph, and we just lost them for a 2nd round pick because apparently we didn't sign them, even though we 1000% did. No, that's just not right. So plain and simple, we got scammed. Our top 6 would have been looking amazing. It would have been Will Smith, Connor Bedard, Cutter Gaucher, Nakamura, Maddox Schultz, Alexi Joseph. No one would be able to stop that top 6. The bottom 6, yeah, it's a little bit weak, but we were going to rely on our top 6 heavily. But we lost Alexi Joseph because apparently he can say, yeah, I signed that contract, but not anymore, so I'm going to leave the team. We got screwed. Plain and simple. I have never seen a player accept a contract and then 4 days later say, I'm actually going to accept an offer sheet instead. Yeah, I don't really want to play for you guys anymore. Absolutely ridiculous. Although I'm gassed up about this team right now, especially with us finishing 1st in the entire league, I'm still mad about the Alexi Joseph situation. Like, he should be on this team right now. He should be playing very important minutes for me, but that's just not the case. Liam Greentree did step up though. 20 goals, 31 helpers for 51 points. Maybe we keep him around. Hold on, is Liam Greentree going to play some big 2nd line minutes for me? Because he performed when it mattered. Maybe we only need 5 elite forwards, and then that 6th forward can just be some guy that steps into the role. We actually might be okay here. Spencer Knight, 45 wins, 4 shots, a 910 to 278. The Blackhawks are absolutely flying right now. They're the reigning Stanley Cup champions, and they're looking to go back to back. Now let's just keep this as simple as possible. 16-0 in the postseason. Just win every game, and then we can be Stanley Cup champions. No need to worry if you're going to win every game. We've already won the first 2. We're off to a great start. How about we make that the first 3 games? Sweep the Utah Mammoth in the first round? That's what I'm looking for. So we've made it to the 2nd round, and we're finding the Minnesota Wild. You know what you have to do. 4 more victories. Let's win 8 straight games to start the postseason, except that's not happening because we're dropping game number 1 and we're dropping game number 3. Luckily, we split the series. Game number 5 is going to be a very important game, and of course, we're going to show up when it matters. The defense has been really good so far in the postseason, and that's going to continue into game number 6. We're moving on to the conference finals. The Edmonton Oilers are definitely going to have one of the best offenses in the game, but if our defense can shut them down, then there's no chance they're going to beat us. And you know what? Our defense has been shutting them down. Outside of game number 1, we've been just completely locking them down. And just like that, we've made it back to the Stanley Cup final once again. Chicago, you know what you have to do. All I need is one more Stanley Cup. I need the Blackhawks to lock in for one more playoff series. We split the series so far. Game number 5 is the most important game. Can we win that one? We're dropping it 4-2. We can't go out like this. We are the reigning Stanley Cup champions. With the best offense in the NHL, we are going to score goals when it matters. Zegras is picking up the first goal. Soulsville is picking up the second goal. Did we score it all in this game? It was a shorthanded goal from Levshinov, but that goal is not going to be enough. Jet Greaves is taking us down. Honestly, it just kind of makes sense. If we were going to lose to any goaltender, of course it's going to be Jet Greaves. We also can't sleep on Columbus. I do believe they're like the 2nd best team in the entire league, so it's not like we lost to a bunch of frauds. Columbus was an elite team. You got to put respect on their name. Bedard, Will Smith, Nakamura, Cutter Gaucher, Len Dupont, Bukestad. Bukestad, I was not expecting you to be up here. Hold on now. Is Bro a stud? Maybe Bukestad should be playing some bigger minutes for us in the future. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Levshinov, I'm not going to lie, you are a 91 overall, significantly higher than Bukestad. We might have to move on from you in the future, especially if Bukestad's going to be outperforming you, but then again, I did give you no movement, so yeah, you're sticking around. Shout out to Bukestad though. Bro is an absolute stud. Liam Greentree. kind of folded in the playoffs, I'm not going to lie. Alexei Joseph would never. And then Spencer Knight, 14 wins, one shot, a 916 to 244. It was a good run from the boys. We just couldn't cap it off with a cup. You know what? I'm not too worried. I know for a fact this team is going to be back. But with that being said, are we getting the first overall pick from the LA Kings? I definitely wouldn't be against that. It looks like it's going to be the 16th overall. At least we're getting a lottery pick. Okay, just wait 1 minute. Maybe all along things were working out for us. Alexei Joseph has signed a 2-year extension with the Florida Panthers, and that extension is worth $2.6 million for the next 2. This might work out for us. Alexei Joseph, welcome to the team. I'm going to give up the 16th overall pick. We will get you on this team. I wanted you on this team from the very beginning. You will now join this team. I don't care what it takes. Also, Liam Greentree, I'm assuming your value has gone up. It's gone up a little bit, so I guess we can hold on to you. Is there anyone we can really trade away here? Hemming, you're a good bottom 6 piece. Wyatt Kaiser, I can give you up because we can definitely find a cheaper replacement. Hopefully this is going to be enough. They're saying no. I guess we're giving up every draft pick imaginable. So here's a 6th round pick for 2034. Hopefully this is going to be enough. Okay, this is going to get ridiculous, isn't it? I'm probably going to have to trade all of these picks away to get Alexei Joseph. You know what? We got the guy we wanted all along. Now we just need him to perform with the team. Okay, so I'm cooking up an amazing deal here with the Anaheim Ducks. I'm going to give you the 52nd overall. You give me the 74th and the 124th. Now, with those 2 draft picks, we're going to be drafting a couple guys early, but it's going to work out for us anyways. Now, this isn't the player I was thinking about because I don't want this grinder on the team. However, I do want this highly potential goaltender. He's going to be joining us, and he's going to be an absolute stud in the future. 17 years old, beginning as a 47 overall with highly potential. You already know for a fact he's the next guy up. And then when it comes to the 124th overall pick, once again, we're selecting somebody a little bit early, but that's just so we can get another mediumly potential goaltender. But this one's going to be starting at 18 years old as a 47 overall. So we have $5.8 million in cap space. Who is willing to sign incredibly cheap deals? That's all I'm looking for. Brady Martin, $1.9 million. Welcome back to the team. Helenas, how much are you going to be looking for? $1.9 million. Welcome back to the team. Green, are you going to keep it consistent and ask for $1.9 million? No, you are not. You want way more, so you're not coming back to the team. Peyton Krebs, how much do you want? $3.8 million. You know what? Welcome back to the team. Actually, we're going to do less than that. How about 3.5 for the next 3? Peyton Krebs, welcome back to the team as an 85 overall. So after bringing those guys back to the team, I'm not really focused on anyone else. I'll sign a couple rookies and give out some 2-way contracts, but it's not going to be anything notable. We got through the re-sign phase and didn't have to spend too much money, but now we're probably going to have to pay out some absolute bags. Alex Vlasic, I can't do $12 million. I just can't. Theo Lindstein, I'm hoping for around $8 million. You want 7.4? That's an even better deal because I can probably sign you for 6.8, and then of course I'll give you a no movement, so I'll get your contract interest up quite a bit. I'll actually do 6.7 million, and then Alex Vlasic, I'll trade you away, and then we'll try to bring somebody else for like 6.7 million. And yes, I did say the funny number, ha ha ha, 6.7, yeah, whatever. Now trading Alex Vlasic actually might work out pretty well for us. We're gonna bring in Schutz. He's a good young defenseman, currently an 81 overall at 19 years old. He's a defensive defenseman, which we could use on this team. We're also going to get a 2nd round pick back in this deal. I guess not. You know what? If we're not getting a 2nd, I don't care about anything else in the deal. We're just going 1 for 1. Now we do need to sign 1 free agent, and this free agent signing is actually a little bit funny. Peltonen, we already had you in the organization. I could have signed you before, but I decided not to. Now I'm going to give you 1.7 for the next 2 years. So yeah, I let you walk into free agency only for me to eventually bring you back. Now it's an amazing day. We get to run the team that I want to run from day number 1. Alexei Joseph joined the team. Maddox Schultz, Nakamura, Cutter Gaucher, Bedard, Will Smith. The top 6 is incredible. The defense is looking amazing as well. And then of course when it comes to goaltending, you already know what Spencer Knight's about. This team's going to take over the NHL, and we're going to get back from that disappointment from last season. We've made it to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, winning one of them and losing the other, but we're going to get back for a 3rd straight season, and we're going to win this time. So for the 2nd season in a row, Chicago's going to be finishing at the top of the league with a 57-23-2 record. We're not messing around this season. We all know what we have to do. We have to win the Stanley Cup. Connor Bedard, Cutter Gaucher, Will Smith, you guys were absolute studs this season. Alexei Joseph, 15 goals, 20 assists for 35 points. I was expecting more. I thought you were going to be that guy, but you were plus 37, so I really can't be too mad. When it comes to goaltending, Spencer Knight, 45 wins, 7 shots, a 913 to 260. You've led us to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Let's make it 3 in a row and take down the Winnipeg Jets in the 1st round. So you guys know how to win in the postseason. You've done it before. core. You know how to win a lot of games. So let's just do that. Let's just keep it simple, take down the Winnipeg Jets, and we can move on to the second round. We've already won the first 2 games. How about we make that the first 3 games and then sweep the Winnipeg Jets? We're allowing 7 goals in game number 3. Not really ideal, but we still have a 3-1 series lead, so we'll take them down 5 games and move on to the second round. Nothing to worry about. One nice thing about this Chicago team right now is I actually have confidence in the team. I believe that we can beat everybody, and we will beat everybody. I haven't had that confidence in the past with some teams. We're dropping game number 1, not the greatest start, but watch us win 3 in a row here. Okay, it might not be 3 in a row, but we split the series. Game number 5 is a must win. We need to win game 5, and we're dropping that one 3-2. The second I start talking about having confidence with the team, we might lose in the second round. Honestly, that would only make sense. I hype up this team and then we somehow lose in the second round. It just makes sense. But we're not losing quite yet. We're moving on to game 7. So it's all come down to game 7. Can we win game 7 and move on to the conference finals? Well, we're exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, we're going to be taking a 1-goal lead. But is that 1-goal lead going to be enough? It looks like it. Peltonen's picking up an empty net goal. We're moving on to the conference finals. Things are looking elite for the Blackhawks right now. So we've already won 8 games. Now we just need to win another 8. So how about we take down the Anaheim Ducks in a sweep and then sweep the Stanley Cup final? We might get swept here. No, that's crazy work. I was gassing this team up not too long ago, and here we are losing in the conference finals or making the biggest comeback of all time. Can we make a 3-0 series comeback? That is crazy work. This team is all over the map, but now they're in the Stanley Cup final for the 3rd year in a row. So let's just keep this momentum going. We just won 4 games in a row. How about you win another 4 games in a row? We're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to split the series with Toronto. Last season in the Stanley Cup final, we dropped game number 5. We're not going to do that this time. We're going to win game number 5, and now we're going to win game 6 and win the Stanley Cup. The Chicago Blackhawks back on top. 2 Stanley Cups in the past 3 years. The dynasty is slowly building. The Blackhawks are back on top once again, and it should be no surprise Connor Bedard's leading the way. 21 goals and 21 helpers for 42 points. He was a dominant force. Will Smith 36, Cutter Gauthier 33. That top line was spectacular. Nobody could stop them. And truthfully, that's the reason we won a Stanley Cup. Without that top line, we probably wouldn't have done too much. But Spencer Knight, 16 wins, a 909, a 291. You're a Stanley Cup champion once again. Next season, we go for the repeat. We weren't able to repeat our first time up. We will this time, though. Now, we didn't have too many picks in the draft because we had basically traded everything away. We did have 3 picks, though, but we didn't walk away with anything notable. I think a medium top 6 potential player might have been the best thing we got. Now, we do have a lot of cap space heading into the re-sign phase, so bringing players back to the team shouldn't be too difficult. Liam Greentree, I am torn on you. The one season you played in our top 6, you were very good, and I'm contemplating moving you back into a top 6 role. Alexei Joseph, maybe I was gassing you up too much. Maybe you're not quite as good as I think. Like Liam Greentree, 13 goals, 19 assists for 32 points last season. I think that's almost more than Joseph, so maybe we're going to keep Liam Greentree around. We'll sign him for a couple years, I think. If we did a 5-year deal, we could probably keep him around at around $4 million, and then maybe I'll give him a modified no trade or something. How about we do $3.8 million for the next 5 years? I give you a 24-team no trade, so if we have to move you in the future, we're going to be able to do that. Liam Greentree, welcome back to the team. You're playing top 6 minutes this season. Never in a million years I expect you to be a top 6 player for us, but here we are. And then Hemming, how much do you want? 2.2 million. How about we just do 2 million for the next 3 years? Are you going to be willing to accept that? Well, Andrew Burnett's accepting his contract, so he's coming back to the team to be our head coach. Meanwhile, when it comes to Hemming, we're still waiting for an answer. And Hemming, what is that answer going to be? Okay, hold on. I don't care about the scouts anymore. Hemming, are you coming back to the team? Yes, you are. I'll sign a couple rookies, and then we have to give out some extensions. Now, you remember how I was gassing up how much cap space we had, and we had to sign a couple players to extensions? Well, these are the couple players. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to be able to do this. Will Smith, you want 17 million. I don't know how we're going to be able to afford you. Nakamura, you might be the most difficult because you're not interested in signing an extension with the team. You want 18 million. We can get this done somehow. I have no clue how we'll get it done, but we will get this done. So we'll start with Will Smith. I think he's one of the most important players. How much money can we save, though? We actually might be able to save quite a bit of money here. Can we get this down to the $14 million range? We can probably get this down to 14.5 for the next 7 years. Will Smith, welcome back to the team. And then with Nakamura, I'm hoping we can basically do the exact same. Maybe we can get you down to 16 million. I think we can probably do 15.5 with Nakamura, so he's going to stick around as well. And then Maddox Schultz, how much do you want? You want 12.5 million. How about we do 4 years? I give you a no movement, and then maybe we can get this down to 11.5 or something. 11.5 might be a stretch. How about we do 11.9 for the next 4 years? So that's going to have us re-signing all of these key guys, and then with everyone else, We'll just figure it out as we go. Also, I guess we do need to re-sign this one goaltender. So yeah, here's 1.9 million for the next 2 years. He's going to be accepting immediately. Hopefully we have enough money for everyone. Now we're going to make one move over the offseason where I'm going to trade one of our mediumly potential goaltenders. We're going to pick up an RFA from the Montreal Canadiens because I know for a fact we can sign him for pretty cheap. Like, I think Bro was only looking for like 1.2 million or something. He's an 82 overall. He wants 1.4 for the next 2 seasons. I can certainly do that. So with the extensions handed out and one trade completed, let's run it back next season and repeat. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not surprised this is happening. Maddox Schultz, we don't have enough money for you. I'll try to offer you a different contract, but if you're not willing to accept that, then you might just be leaving the team. You still are interested in signing with the team, so hopefully we can still get something done. You want 12.5 million? I can probably do this. What if I did 4 years? If we did 4 years with a no movement at 11.8 million, I think he would accept that. So I'll send that over to Maddox Schultz. I believe he will be accepting that offer. It looks like he is. We have all the important pieces signed. Yes, the bottom 6 is still pretty weak, but we're heavily relying on our top 6. And so far, that's been working out for us. Now, I would say over the next handful of years, we're not going to be making a lot of big time moves. A lot of the moves are just going to be small ones where we're cleaning up the bottom 6 a little bit, or maybe improving the third pairing. When it comes to 90% of this team moving forward, we have all the key pieces. And so far, we've been able to see a lot of success with those key pieces. So how about we see some more success and win another Stanley Cup? Now, I can confidently say moving forward, the Chicago Blackhawks own the league. A 59-15-8 record, 3.84 goals per game, 2.43 allowed. Our offense is amazing, our defense is amazing, and that's not going to slow down anytime soon. Will Smith, Connor Bedard, Nakamura, Cutter Gaucher, Len DuPont, Maddox Schultz, the team looks incredible. Liam Greentree, 16 goals and 23 assists for 39 points. You're not really impressing me on the top line, but you know what? I'm not going to worry too much. You play your role there, and that's all I'm worried about. Like, at the end of the day, you still had 12 more points than Alexi Joseph. Bro's been a complete fraud. I thought he was going to be a superstar for us. That has not happened. Spencer Knight, incredible numbers once again, but I need those incredible numbers in the postseason. We already have a 1-0 series lead because I accidentally simulated a day too far. So it's pretty simple. Repeat and win another Stanley Cup. We've already won 2 Stanley Cups in this video, 2 in the last 3 years. I want to make that 3 Stanley Cups in the last 4 years. But what has happened to our offense and what has happened to our defense? We are collapsing right now. We're not going to drop 3 in a row though, but those 2 games definitely scared me right there. Let's close it out in game 6 and move on to the second round. No more messing around, Chicago. I can't have any more poor performances like that. Like, I don't even know what you guys were doing. You collapsed in back-to-back games. You can't do that moving forward. I need perfection from you guys moving forward. We're winning game 1, but dropping game number 2. We found a way to respond in game 3, but we need to win game 4 as well, and that's what we're doing. So one more victory sends us to the conference finals, and that's where we are now. Now, this Chicago team really has just been something different. Like, they just keep on rolling. So we're 8 games away from hoisting another Stanley Cup. Can we do that? Well, we're down 3-1, but we've made tougher comebacks than this before, and it all starts in game number 5, which we're losing. Alright, I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking we were going to make another big comeback. It looks like Chicago's time at the top has come to an end. Now, that was certainly a disappointing loss, but you know what? Chicago knows how to bounce back. They have been disappointed in the postseason a couple times so far, but you know what they do after they're disappointed? They bounce back and win the following season, so that's what I'm expecting moving forward. Bedard, Will Smith, Nakamura, Cutter Gaucher, Maddox Schultz, Liam Greentree, I need all of you guys to take the next step next season. I need you all to play like absolute superstars, because we need to win another Stanley Cup. Spencer Knight, a 902 and a 325. Maybe age is starting to catch up with you, but you're still an 89 overall. I still think you have some good seasons left in you. You're under contract for 1 more season. Next season very likely could be the last dance with you. But you know what? Until then, the Chicago Blackhawks are going to keep on rolling. I believe they have a couple more Stanley Cups in them. I know for a fact they have a couple more Stanley Cups in them because we still have 15 years remaining. Now, I definitely wasn't expecting an 80 overall player with a 30th overall pick, but that's what we're walking away with. Welcome to the team, Hayes, an 18-year-old who's beginning as an 80 overall. You're going to be a great player for us in just a couple seasons because I'm going to give you, I think, 2 more years to develop. Because if I can bring you onto the team when you're an 82 overall on your entry-level contract, I think that's a steal. But you know what else is a steal? A medium elite potential centerman drafted in the 3rd round. Pavel Leonov is going to be an amazing player for us as long as he develops. If he develops and actually turns into a medium elite potential player, we just got ourselves a steal. Now, it looks like the elite drafting is not done yet because now we're bringing in a low elite potential player who's beginning as a 66 overall. overall. But what if I told you we still weren't done? Because up next with the 190th overall pick, another low elite potential player. Yeah, we're bringing in a ton of studs in this draft. As long as these guys develop, we're going to be looking at a bunch of elite players. And you know what? We might just walk away with one more. Can we find one more low elite potential player in this draft? It doesn't look like it. Low top 9. It was worth the risk. Now I can tell you right now, the re-sign phase is going to be so incredibly quiet because all we're doing here is qualifying RFAs. We are qualifying RFAs and that's it, because we only have 3.2 million, and I know for a fact we can't afford any of these guys. Like Bukestad wants $11 million. I can't do that. Alexei Joseph, he wants 3.2 million. I guess we could do that, but I'm going to qualify him as an RFA instead. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty tough offseason for us. Now I think we might only be handing out one extension. That's going to go to Seabrook. We're going to lock him down for multiple years. We'll do 2 years at 1.2 million. Actually, I'll do 1.3 because I'm a nice guy. But when it comes to Spencer Knight, unfortunately, I think you are going to be leaving the team. I can't do $12 million for one season. I just can't do that. All right, so we're going to make a lot of small trades here. One of them being Alexei Joseph from McCollum. He's under contract for the next 2 years. He'll be a good bottom 6 centerman for us. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the trades moving forward and a lot of our moves in general are just going to be small bottom 6 ones like this. Now, the trades are continuing. It's going to be Schutz and a second round pick sent over to Vancouver. Morrow is going to be brought in. He's going to be a good second pairing guy. Apparently, 1 second round pick's not enough, but that's perfectly fine. Here's 2 second round picks. I don't care about the second rounders. I just want to get this deal done. And this is slowly becoming a very expensive deal for us. I'll give you a medium-league potential goaltender as well. Like, we have more than enough medium-league potential goaltenders. Who do I want to trade away? I guess I can give you Olsen. I think out of all the guys, he's probably the least valuable. So I'll send him over to Vancouver, and that'll get this deal done. Now, Bukestad, you've turned into an amazing defenseman for us. However, I just can't afford to keep you on this team, so I'm sending you over to Nashville. Denisov and McLean are both going to be acquired. I'm hoping we can re-sign both of those guys on reasonable deals. So Denisov, what are you looking for as an RFA? I'm hoping it's not too much. You want 5.2 million. All right, you're gone. I'll trade you away. I was kind of hoping we could do something reasonable. I was thinking $3 million. McLean wants 3.6 as an extension. I'm going to hold off with that. I mean, truthfully, I think we're going to be holding off with basically almost all of these guys right here. There's going to be a lot of guys leaving the team. So Denisov, now that I can't bring you back to the team, I'm going to be bringing in 2 defensemen to play some third pairing minutes for us. I don't need these guys to be superstars. I just need them to play the role. I'm not going to lie though, Denisov, you let me down big time. I was expecting you to be a good bottom 6 piece, and then you turned around and asked for $5 million. Like, who do you think you are? Now, when it comes to Chicago, it's Stanley Cup or bust every season. And last season, it was a bust because we didn't win a Stanley Cup. This season, though, we're looking to change things. You already know what we're looking to do. We're looking to get our revenge, and we're looking to win a Stanley Cup. Simple as that. So this is absolutely no surprise to anybody. Chicago's back at the top of the league. 61 wins this season. Another President's Trophy for them. Will Smith, I'm actually happy I gave you that massive deal not that long ago. 116 points. Connor Bedard, 115. Nakamura, 99. Cutter Gaucher, 99. 4-point-a-game scorers. We almost had 4 100-point scorers. Land DuPont, 66 points. Maddox Schultz, 63. I was kind of hoping when he dropped to low franchise potential, we would get an absolute steal and he would still turn to like a 94 overall. That just hasn't really been the case. Liam Greentree, 47 points, 16 goals, 31 assists. You're still an 82 overall. I'm kind of hoping one of these years you're going to take the next step and may develop into like an 85. I doubt that's going to be happening. Meanwhile, Spencer Knight, 51 wins, 9 shows, a 917 to 248. It's the last dance with Spencer Knight, so that can only mean one thing. One more Stanley Cup. But in order to win a Stanley Cup, we do have to take down the St. Louis Blues in the first round. Now, of course, I'm not scared of the St. Louis Blues in the slightest, because at the end of the day, we're in NHL 26, and NHL 26 disrespects the St. Louis Blues regardless of what year it is. I don't care if we're in the year 2036. There is no difference between 2036 and 2026. St. Louis will always be disrespected, and it looks like we're going to be taking them down a 5-game series. We're moving on to the second round. That was light work for Chicago. Now, something about the St. Louis Blues in NHL 26, it's just not fair. They just continue to disrespect my boys, and honestly, I can't let it slide anymore. Granted, it's not like we're a good team. Like, we are a very bad team right now. The only reason we are not dead last in the entire league is because of overtime losses. I believe we lost our 8th overtime game the other night against the New York Rangers. This team refuses to win 3-on-3. We are also blowing a 3-1 series lead. So yeah, maybe we should lock in. So no more talking about the St. Louis Blues. We're focused on the Blackhawks and not blowing a 3-1 series lead. It was a high scoring first period, but we still have the lead after 1. Moving into the second, we're going to be losing that lead. There is no way we're blowing a 3-1 series lead, right? We just about did that. Nakamura's picking up the hat trick. Connor Bedard's forcing overtime, and in OT when it matters most. Who's picking up the next goal? Well, it looks like that's going to be Will Smith. We had a bit of a scare there, but we don't have to worry about it anymore. We're moving on to the conference finals. No, real talk, there is no way Nashville should have put that much pressure on us. We are the best team in the NHL right now. An elite offense and an elite defense. nobody should really stop us. We just about swept the Minnesota Wild. We are one game away from making it back to the Cup final, and now we're there. So we've made it back to the Stanley Cup final. We're looking to bounce back from last season's disappointment, and there's only one way we can do that. We have to win 4 more games. So let's do that right now. 4 more victories against the Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, they're going to be a good team, but can they compete with the Blackhawks? Absolutely not. A sweep to finish it all off. Chicago's back on top. Our 3rd Stanley Cup in 5 years. This team just keeps on winning. The legacy of Connor Bedard is really building right now. Another Stanley Cup for the Chicago Blackhawks. Bedard, 31 points. Will Smith, 28. Cutter Gauthier, 23. Nakamura, 19 points. Even the boys on the bottom 6 were stepping up for us. You just love to see that. And then when it comes to goaltending, Spencer Knight, you want a Stanley Cup in your final season. I really want to bring you back to the team. We just can't do $12 million for one season. I will check in again with you because I would love to bring you back. I just don't know if it's going to be possible. But just look at everything he's won with the franchise. 3 Stanley Cups, a Vezina, and 3 William Jennings. I want to bring Spencer Knight back really bad. I just don't know if we can do it. Also, while we're looking at Spencer Knight's awards, we might as well look at Bedard's. 3 Cups, 2 Conn Smythes, a Hart, a Ted Lindsay, a Selke, and a Calder. Yeah, bro's slowly turning into one of the greatest of all time. Also, shout out to Will Smith. He won a Hart last season and the Ted Lindsay last season. Then Cutter Gauthier, he's won himself a Conn Smythe. Now, we have all the award winners on our team. I probably should have been checking in on that a little bit more. But you know what? We're not worried about all the individual awards. We're just worried about the team awards and us winning Stanley Cups. Now, before we move on to next season, of course, Spencer Knight, I do have to check in with you. I don't know how on earth we're going to be able to bring you back to this team, especially if you're looking for a bag, but I don't hate this. So Spencer Knight, I think you are coming back. We're going to save some money. I'm going to give you a no movement clause. You need to run it back with the team a couple more times. How about we do 7.7 for the next 2 years? Spencer Knight, you have 2 more good years left in you. Now we got to make some trades here because I want to pick up a handful of these guys right here. 2 gems and a mediumly potential left winger. Yeah, we need a couple picks around this range. So the first trade we're going to make is with the Buffalo Sabres. We're picking up the 97th overall pick. Now we're going to make a deal with the Carolina Hurricanes to get the 98th overall. So we have 3 picks in a row and all of them are turning into some pretty valuable players. So we'll start off with this low top 6 potential player who's a gem. We already know what his potential is going to be. When it comes to our next selection, we're going for this low elite potential player right here who's also a gem. Is he going to turn into anything? I guess we'll have to wait and see. He's also only going to have low top 6 potential, but he was a gem, so we're going to believe in him. And then to finish it all off, a medium elite potential left winger. This was an amazing draft right after winning a Stanley Cup. So with the $8 million we have in cap space, I'm not really too sure who's coming back to the team. Clayton, I'm qualifying you as an RFA. These 2 guys at the bottom are also going to be qualified as RFAs, and I think all the UFAs are going to be walking, and then we'll find some cheap replacements. Unless a guy like Brady Martin's willing to accept a really cheap deal, I can't do $3.5 million. Helenas, how much do you want? You want $2 million? I can maybe do 1.9. I'll do 1.9 for one season, so you're going to be coming back to the team. Everyone else, though, they're going to be walking. Now, before we make any trades for the bottom 6, McCollum, I'm bringing you back for the next 2 seasons at $2.2 million. Hines, I think we're going to hold off for 1 more season. I think I called you Hayes earlier. I might have called you Hayes earlier. It's Hines. Whether or not I called you Hayes or Hines, that doesn't matter. Carlton, I'm also going to hold off with you for 1 more season. We're going to pick up some guys on some 1-year contracts, and then we're going to run it back. Now, we need some third-pairing defensemen, but I found 2 cheap guys on the Red Wings. Both of them are 78 overalls. I'll give up Schwartz in order to get both of them. So this is going to be the final trade we make before we go ahead and repeat next season. Just a couple more guys for the bottom 6. The team's all complete and now they're ready to repeat. Also, I just re-signed Kent for like $975K. He's an 84 overall. So depending on when Spencer Knight leaves the team, we might already have our replacement. We also do have that highly potential goaltender still in the system, so we can't forget about him. Now, does this team look like the greatest of all time? Absolutely not. Like, we have a pretty weak bottom 6. However, a weak bottom 6 is yet to hurt us. We keep on winning Stanley Cups with that weak bottom 6, so I'm just going to keep running it back with those guys. With that being said, Spencer Knight has dropped to an 86 overall. He only has exact start potential now. He might not be that guy anymore. However, he's been that guy in the past, so I know he can give me at least 1 more cup. So it's just the same old story as every other year. Chicago absolutely dominates. They're first in the entire league. Connor Bedard, 75 goals, 51 assists for 126 points. Just the usual thing here. Liam Greentree, 53 points. He's up to an 84 overall. He's slowly developing for me. Maybe at some point he's going to hit an 86. I would love to see that. Spencer Knight, you have regressed quite a bit. You've lost a lot of X factors, but you're still the star heading into the postseason. 1 last run with Spencer Knight. We have to get 1 more Stanley Cup with him. We're taking on the Ducks in the first round. It's the last dance for Spencer Knight. I mean, that's partially a lie because he is under contract for next season, so I guess it just depends on how much he's going to be regressing. I'm assuming he's still going to be like an 85 overall, so he still should be able to be our Stanley Cup winning goaltender, but what is going on? We have dropped back-to-back games. It better not be 3 straight games. We're going out sad, aren't we? We're about to get swept. We almost got swept in the first round. After winning a Stanley Cup, we're about to go out bad here. I think we're going to lose in 5 games, or we're going to make this comeback. We might make the comeback as well. We were down 3-0. We have made a 3-0 series comeback against the Anaheim Ducks before, and we are about to do it right here after we win Game 7. That is crazy work. That is the second time we have made a 3-0 series comeback in this video. Maybe the third time. I actually don't recall. But I know for a fact we have made a 3-0 series comeback against the Anaheim Ducks twice in this video. Why has it happened twice against the Anaheim Ducks? I have no clue. We're dropping game number 1. Y'all can't do this to me again. We can't make another big comeback. We've split the series so far. Game 5 is the most important game. I need you to win that one, and we're winning it in overtime. So let's move on to game 6. Let's close out game 6 and then advance to the conference finals. The boys have woken up. After losing the first 3 games of the postseason, we figured it out, and now we're winning games. A sweep over the San Jose Sharks would go crazy right now. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but we will take them down in 6 games because we've lost back-to-back games, and we are not blowing a 3-0 series lead ourselves. We're not going to do that. So Chicago is back in the Stanley Cup final. Carolina, once again, they're looking to get their revenge, while Spencer Knight, he wants to get one more as the starter. The Chicago Blackhawks have been looking pretty solid so far in this video, but they want another Stanley Cup. They want to win one more with Spencer Knight, and with us having a 3-1 series lead, I think we should be able to win one more cup, and that's exactly what we're doing. The Carolina Hurricanes can't compete with us, Chicago can't be stopped, and they're Stanley Cup champions once again. Spencer Knight, you might go down as the greatest goaltender of all time. Another Stanley Cup. I believe your 4th of the video. It could be your 5th. I've lost track. All I know is the Chicago Blackhawks just went back-to-back. They've won another Stanley Cup. If you were questioning the bottom 6 on this team, you shouldn't do that anymore. 16 wins, 5 shouts, a 922 and a 237. I don't care if you drop to an 84 overall. You're still the starter next season. I don't care if Seabrook continues to develop. Spencer Knight's our Stanley Cup winning goaltender. He can sit the entire regular season for all I care. He's our goaltender when the playoffs are coming around. So not only have we had playoff success in this video, but we've been having a lot of drafting success, especially with lowly potential players, because so far a lot of the lowly potential guys we've drafted have developed for us. So with that being said, how about we draft another lowly potential player? And I think that's what we just did in the 5th round. Can we walk away with another lowly potential player? Of course we can. So I think all of the UFAs on this team are going to be walking, potentially even Ivanov, but I think we actually will bring him back to the team. He was a good centerman for us, so how about we do 3.2 for the next 2 years? Ivanov's coming back to the team. Everyone else is going to be walking, but we do have these rookies that are ready to jump to the lineup. Hines played for the Moose Jaw Warriors, so you already know he's a superstar. Carlton, you were playing with USA Hockey. Not quite as good as the Moose Jaw Warriors, but still a decent enough pickup for us. We also have Upshaw, who's a 79 overall. He wants 1.3 million. What if we did 2 years? I'll do 1.5 for the next 2 years, and you can be a third pairing defenseman for me. Everyone else, though, I think they're going to be walking, including a lot of these young guys right here, because they're not willing to accept 2-way contracts, so I think I'll just let them walk. Now right now there's 2 main players that need extensions, Cutter Gaucher being one of them. He wants $22 million. I don't know if I can do that for Cutter Gaucher. I'm just going to keep it a stack. I don't know if you're worth that. Pat Morrow, you've been a really good second pairing defenseman for me, so I can bring you back to the team, especially at this price tag, 6.8 million. But what if we do 8 years and I give you a no movement? If we did 8 years and I gave you a no movement, we can probably do this for 7.5 million or something. Maybe a little bit more, 7.7 for the next 8 years. You're sticking around as one of our key defensemen. I like that contract right there. But Gaucher, I can't give you 20 million. When it comes to Dallas Winther, I think we will sign him to a long-term deal, though I guess we actually can't really do a long-term deal with him. The most we can do is 2 seasons, so how about I do 1.1 for the next 2 years? You're going to play one more season in the AHL, but the next season I think you'll take over as our starter. I guess it depends on how much Seabrook wants. He wants 6.7 million. I think we'll let you walk. So we're going to run Spencer Knight and Seabrook for this season, and then Winther, you're taking over next season. Now we need to make one trade before we head into next season, and that trade's going to be us picking up Lowry. We're going to be able to re-sign him for like $1.2 million. It looks like I have to give up a 7th round pick as well, but you know what, I'm perfectly fine with giving up a 7th round pick for 2039. This trade's still well worth it. So Lowry, welcome to the team. We could do 1.5 million, but what if we did 3 years at 1.8? That's still a really good deal for the bottom 6. Ken Lowry, you're going to play some good minutes for me. Okay, I have no clue how this worked out, but this This is the greatest storyline for the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't care about us potentially three-peating. I mean, I do quite a bit, but not as much as this. So we currently have two Upshaws on the third pairing. One of them is Trevor Upshaw. The other is Corey Upshaw. We have Trevor and Corey together. You can't make this up. They're basically the same height as well, almost the same weight. There's a 1 year difference between these two guys. Trevor and Corey are going to lead Chicago to another Stanley Cup. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. The dream of a three-peat is still on, and we're about to do it with Trevor and Corey. I don't know how that worked out, but here we are. We all know what the drill is. Three-peat or bust. We need to win one more Stanley Cup in order to complete the three-peat. Connor Bedard has dropped to a 95 overall. I think at one point he was a 96. He has dropped to a 95, but that doesn't really change too much because the team is still looking amazing. Liam Greentree, what overall are you? You're still only an 83. I'm not going to lie, you kind of let me down. I was thinking you were going to turn into a great top 6 player. I mean, you've put up decent numbers. You just never turned into that superstar. Meanwhile, Seabrook, 38 wins, one shot, a 907 and a 267, but who cares about those numbers? Look what Spencer Knight did this season. He's taken over in the postseason. One final run for Spencer Knight. He has earned it. He has earned the right to be our guy in the playoffs. We're going to give him one last Stanley Cup run. So the three-peat starts right now with Spencer Knight. He might not be the highest overall in the world, but he has an amazing team in front of him. He's already won a handful of Stanley Cups, and he is looking to win one more. We split the series with Vegas to start off the postseason. Not the greatest start, but you know what? This team's going to lock in because we're about to win game number 5. Then we're going to win game 6 and move on to the second round because that's what Chicago does. So we've won game number 5, no surprise there. Now it's time for us to win game 6. I'm not kidding when I say this Chicago team doesn't play around. We're winning games and we're winning Stanley Cups. We might give a team a 3-0 series lead, but that means nothing. That's just because we're bored and we want the postseason to be a bit more competitive. We'll win 4 straight games after that. We're moving on to the second round where we have to take on the Minnesota Wild. I think we have a little bit of momentum heading into the second round, and it looks like we do right now. Can we win game 3 and game 4 and take a 3-1 series lead? Of course we can. We're the Chicago Blackhawks and we're building a dynasty. One more victory sends us to the conference finals. After dropping game number 5, can we win game number 6? Of course we can. It's the Chicago Blackhawks we're talking about. This Chicago team might be one of the best Stanley Cup teams I've ever built. And you know why I said this is one of the best Stanley Cup teams I've ever built? Because we're off to the Stanley Cup final. We're sweeping the LA Kings. We're back in the Stanley Cup final once again, and we're about to complete the three-peat. So it all comes down to these 4 games right here. This 4-game sweep over the Detroit Red Wings, because we're not going to mess around. But maybe we are a little bit. We split the series with the Red Wings. Game number 5 is a must-win. Can we figure out how to win that one? Well, obviously we are, because we're going to close this out in 6 games and become Stanley Cup champions for the 3rd year in a row. This is the greatest Chicago team of all time and the greatest team in NHL history. The Chicago Blackhawks are once again Stanley Cup champions. Nakamura, Will Smith, Connor Bedard, you already know what the drill is. You know these guys are going to step up. You know goaltending is going to step up. Spencer Knight is winning one more Stanley Cup. He's a 5-time Cup champion. He won a Vezina. He won a Cup of William Jennings. Spencer Knight's going to go down as one of the greatest goalies of all time. Like, I just want to show you guys this dominance. 4 of the past 5 Cup winners are the Chicago Blackhawks. We've now probably won like 8 straight President's trophies. Like, it's just getting a little bit ridiculous. Our team is just significantly better than everyone else in the league. It's not even competitive anymore. So now that we've completed the three-peat, there's only one place to go from here. We're trying to complete the 4-peat now. Now, before we move on to the draft or do anything else during the offseason, we're checking in with Gaucher, and look at this. He's now looking for $14.1 million, a significantly more reasonable deal. I'm looking to do 2 years with you, though. I want to lock you down to you're at least 36, and how about I give you a no movement as well? Cutter Gaucher has been such an important part of this team. We need to keep him around. So how about we do around $12 million for the next 2 years? Cutter Gaucher, you're an absolute superstar for us. It's only $1.2 million more than what you're getting paid right now, and I think you deserve a bit of a pay increase. Now, the draft was about to be a complete and utter bust, but hold on, just wait 1 minute. With the final pick in the draft, a low elite potential player, things might have been looking bad, but because of that one draft pick right there, everything's looking significantly better. Oh, well, that's disappointing. Okay, remember how I just said everything was looking significantly better? Not anymore. Cutter Gaucher is rejecting our offer. I still think we should be able to re-sign him, though. Like, he wants 13.8 for the next 2 seasons now. We can still get something done. So how about I do $12 12.8 for the next 2 seasons. That's $2 million more than what he was getting paid before. Now he's accepting. And then outside of signing Cutter Gaucher, we'll sign a couple rookies, and then we'll move into free agency where we're probably not going to have to do anything. Because I think we basically have our entire team locked down from last season, so we're not going to lose anybody. I mean, we are going to lose some key pieces though, like Spencer Knight's not returning to the team. Our backup goalie, who was actually our starting goaltender for the entire season, he's not coming back either. We have 2 new goaltenders taking over, but I think we can rely on these guys. Like, Winther has medium franchise potential now. Yeah, he's more than likely going to be our goaltender for the rest of this video. As long as Winther doesn't see some crazy regression, he's our guy. So after getting through the re-sign phase, 3 of our key players are looking for contract extensions. Land Dupont, of course you have to return to the team, but I want to do less than 17 million. And you know what? It looks like things are going to work out for us. We're going to save about $3 million on this deal. 14.7 over the next 8 years. That's about a $3 million increase. Levshunov, how much do you want? You want 15.3. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think we can get it done. So how about we do 14.5 for the next 4 years, and then with the remaining money we have left, as long as Maddox Schultz doesn't look for something ridiculous, we should be able to keep him on the team, and I think that's going to be the case. So Maddox Schultz for 11.5 million, you can return for the next 6 seasons. So there we go. We re-signed the 3 key players. Now we don't have to worry about anything. I mean, I guess Upshaw does have medium league potential now, but he wants 6.5 million. Now there's actually one more re-sign we have to do. Kent, here's 1.1 million for the next 2 years. You're an 84 overall. You might be our starting goaltender this upcoming season. Depends on how much Winther develops. So very little has to be said before moving into this season. We're going for the 4-peat, not the 3-peat, the 4-peat, because we've already won 3 Stanley Cups in a row. We're looking for the elusive 4-peat that has been done very few times in NHL history. We're looking to be the next team to do so. Winther's up to an 88 overall. We have our new goalie. I was a little concerned once Spencer Knight left the team whether or not we would have the next guy. It looks like we do, and we actually have the best goalie in the league. Now Chicago might not have been as dominant this season. However, I'll take a 54-28 record. We had 0 overtime losses this season. I do want to point that out. For some reason, we're just losing every game in regulation. But when it comes to regulation wins, we won 8 more games than the Minnesota Wild. When it comes to regulation wins plus overtime, we won 7 more games than the Kraken. So clearly, we are the best team right now. Connor Bedard's dominating once again. 120 points, 59 goals, 61 helpers. Will Smith 108. You already know what the scoring's looking like on this team. Absolutely incredible. Ivanov, he's looking like a stud for us. Maybe he's going to move into a top 6 role. Who knows? Meanwhile, Dallas Winther, I accidentally started you in every game this season. I completely forgot to turn auto-rotate goaltenders to on. The reason I turned it off is so Spencer Knight can be our postseason goaltender last season, and I forgot to turn that back to on. So Dallas Winther, you played every game for me this season, but you put up some pretty solid numbers, so I can't really complain. But I don't care about what you did during the regular season. This is where it matters. The Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going for the 4-peat this season. Winther, you have some pretty high expectations in your rookie season. Like Winther, when it comes to your rookie postseason debut, all I'm expecting you to do is win a Stanley Cup. That's all you have to do. Nothing too difficult. Just win me a Stanley Cup. You've already won the first 2 games, so you're off to a great start. Win me game number 3. Can we sweep the LA Kings? No, I think Winther's the next man up. I was a little bit concerned whether or not he was going to be able to step up in the postseason, but we're already off to an incredible start. A sweep over the LA Kings. How about we sweep the Utah Mammoth? Can we get back-to-back sweeps? I think that would be the perfect start, but unfortunately, we're dropping game number 1. We will respond in game 2 and game 3 and game 4, so we have a 3-1 series lead. We'll close that with 4 straight victories, and we're moving on to the conference finals. Winther is 8-1 so far in the playoffs. He's not looking to lose. So we're moving on to the conference finals. The Seattle Kraken are up next, and we're already winning the first 2 games. Can we sweep the Seattle Kraken? 16-1 in the playoffs. That's not going to be happening. But 16-2 is still very possible. All we have to do is sweep the Penguins. Can we complete the 4-peat? We are 4 victories away from 4-peating with the Chicago Blackhawks. All we have to do is beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 4 times, and we 4-peated. We just swept them. This team is unbeatable. We will never lose again. The Chicago Blackhawks are never going to lose again. Nakamura, 29 points. Connor Bedard, 27 points. Will Smith, 22. Ivanov, 18. Land Dupont, 17. Cutter Gaucher, 13. The greatest team of all time. Winther, 16-2 in the playoffs. 2 shots, a 922 and a 234. We are Stanley Cup champions once again. We will never lose. Now, I forgot to mention it, but the draft wasn't notable for us at all. We did get 1 medium top 4 potential player, but outside that, we didn't walk away with any superstars. But you know what? We don't need any more more superstars. We have our team. Now we have $7 million to work with, but I don't really want to spend any of that money right now because there's a handful of guys that need some big extensions. So what we're going to do is just qualify all of these RFAs. The UFAs are going to be walking, and then we'll sign some new rookies. Now I do want to point out a lot of our key players here are starting to get up there in age. Connor Bedard is 33 years old. Of course, we're going to keep him around though. He wants $23 million. Bedard, you've been one of our key players for a long time. I'll give you $20 million. Not 23 though. 23 is kind of wild. So here you go, Bedard, $20 million for the next 3 seasons. Cutter Gaucher, I'll deal with your contract at a later time. Lindstein, I'll deal with your contract at a later time, but we might be losing both of you guys. When it comes to a lot of the other players here, we'll sign them to cheap contracts if possible. Like Hines, 2.7 I think is a great deal. Lowry, hopefully we can do something similar. You want 4.2, so you're likely not coming back to the team. Carlton, I can do 2.3 for the next 2 years. But outside of those deals, we got to make some trades to improve the bottom 6. So here's going to be one of the trades. Ivanov and Upshaw are sent over to the Philadelphia Flyers. Begin's going to be brought in. He's going to be a good right winger. Immediately jumping into a top 6 role. And once he jumps into a top 6 role, that's actually going to be the best our top 6 has looked in a long time. Like he's an 85 overall. When was the last time we saw a second line right winger being an 85 overall? It's been a minute. Hopefully a first round pick's going to be enough to get this deal done. They're saying no. You know what? How about we shake this deal up a little bit? Leonov, I'll send you over in this deal. Upshaw, I'll send you over as well. But Ivanov, I'm taking you out. This should be enough to get this deal done. We're pretty close. They need like a 3rd round pick or something. You know what? How about instead of giving you a 3rd round pick, I just give you this 7th rounder right here. There we go. Okay, apparently I was tripping. He's only an 83 overall. For some reason, I thought he was an 85. Just completely ignore that. He's still going to be a good player. So we're going to keep on trading RFAs and bringing in a couple other young guys. We're bringing in a 3rd pairing right defenseman and a bottom 6 right winger. We're also going to get 2 3rd round picks in this deal. It definitely wouldn't hurt if we had a couple more draft picks to work with. So here's the final trade before we head into next season. 2 more centermen we're picking up from the Carolina Hurricanes. With this deal complete, we're ready to 5-peat. Never thought I would say those words. Also, before we get way too far ahead of ourselves, Winther, I need to bring you back to this team. You're an absolute stud goalie for us, but you're only looking for 2 seasons. So we'll hold off a little bit. Ideally, by the end of the year, you're looking to sign for 8 seasons, and that would be perfect. Now, I think through my entire history of rebuilding teams, I don't think I've ever 5-peated. I have never 5-peated before because it is just so incredibly unrealistic. Like, winning 1 Stanley Cup is one thing, then repeating, that's amazing. 3-peating, incredibly hard. 4-peating, nearly impossible up until today. And now we're on the brink of a 5-peat. Potentially 5-peating during this 25-year rebuild. Nothing could make this video even better. Being able to say I successfully 5-peated over the course of a rebuild, if I can't do that now, I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. Like, in order to 5-peat, you have to win 4 straight Stanley Cups. Winning 4 straight, as I just mentioned, nearly impossible. So if you get to the point where you're about to 5-peat, you're about to complete the impossible. So here we go. It all comes down to this. The Chicago Blackhawks, a 62-17-3 record. The greatest team of all time. The greatest team in NHL history is right here, right now, and they are looking to win another Stanley Cup. 1 more Stanley Cup gets us the 5-peat. I completely forgot once again to turn auto-rotate goaltenders on. I'm going to go do that right now before we head into the postseason. We're taking on the Dallas Stars in the first round. Let's go turn auto-rotate goaltenders back to on. So it all comes down to this. Our chance at a 5-peat. We need to win 16 postseason games. We've been able to do that 4 times in a row now. Now it's time to do it 1 more time. We're exchanging the first 2 games. I'm not really liking that. We need to win game 3, and that's what we're going to do. It's been a defensive masterclass so far, and it looks like that's continuing. Can we win game 5 and move on to the second round? Give me 1 more victory right now, 12 more wins. All we need is 12. We have now won 25% of the games we need. So how about we win another 25% right here? We need to take down the Minnesota Wild in a sweep. That would be the best case scenario, but we are getting the worst case scenario. Well, maybe not the worst case scenario. As long as we win game 5, we are still in a pretty good spot. And of course, we're going to score 7 goals. When our backs are against the wall, we find a way to respond. But now we're in game 7. But that means our backs are against the wall, so watch us show up. Chicago taking on Minnesota. We need to win this one right here, but we're allowing the first goal of the game. Not really ideal, but I know this team will respond, and that's what we're doing. However, Minnesota's responding as well. The third period is going to decide this one. Can we somehow win in game 7 to move on to the conference finals? It's over. The dream is over. The dream is dead. The Minnesota Wild are taking down the Chicago Blackhawks. The dream of a 5-peat is now dead. I think this is the end for the Chicago Blackhawks. I think a lot of guys are going to start aging out on us. We had a good run. What can I say? 5 Stanley Cups over a 6-year period. We would have had a 6-peat if we didn't end up losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning that one season. Because we won a Stanley Cup, lost, and Tampa Bay won, and then we went on a 4-peat. So if Tampa Bay didn't win that one Stanley Cup, where I believe we lost in the conference finals, not only would have we completed a 5-peat, we would have 6-peated. At the end of the day, it was only a matter of time before somebody beat us, though. We can't beat everybody, especially with this team getting up there in age. Players are aging out on us. Winther, you put up good numbers, a 927 and a 225. I can't be mad about you, but it seems like Father Time is starting to catch up with our team. Connor Bedard's dropped to a 94 overall. I want to look at his award case once again. 6 Cups, 3 Conn Smythes, 4 Harts, 4 Ted Lindsays, 4 Art Ross, 2 Maurice Rucker-Shards, a Selke, a Calder, and a Lady Bang. I think he's the greatest player of all time now. I think Connor Bedard has solidified himself as the greatest player of all time. Like, just look at these regular season numbers. 782 goals, 792 assists for 1,500 points. By the time his career is up, he's probably going to be in the 2,000 point club. I might have been gassing up Connor Bedard a little bit too much, because even when comparing his trophy case to Wayne Gretzky's is still slightly better. So yeah, Connor Bedard, all that hype I was talking about you being the greatest player of all time, I take it all back. Gretzky's still that man. Now, not only are we going to be losing in the playoffs, but we're also losing one of our key pieces. Cutter Gauthier has decided to call it a career at 36 years old. He's going to be retiring. He was an incredible player for us. He won a handful of Stanley Cups, 7 to be exact, 1 Conn Smythe. One of those Stanley Cups was with the Anaheim Ducks though, but he won 6 with the Chicago Blackhawks. Gauthier, you were an incredible piece for us. Now we have to find a replacement, and I don't know how we're going to do that. Now, Cutter Gauthier, we might have lost you. However, I'm going to replace you with 3 different players. Actually, we might replace you with 4 different players, depending on how this draft goes. Because the first thing I'm going to do is draft this medium elite potential goaltender right here. He's beginning as a 48 overall. Then the next thing I'm going to do is with the 78th overall pick, we're going to take another flyer. And that flyer is going to be on this guy projected 88th overall. Now, he is going to have medium elite potential. Then we're going to move on to the 81st overall pick, and guess what we're going to draft with the 81st overall pick? You guessed it, another medium elite potential player. And then hold on, we are not done yet, because now with the 83rd overall pick, what are we going to be drafting? Another medium elite potential player. This one's going to be a goaltender. Now, all of these guys are to replace Cutter Gauthier. Yes, 2 of them are goaltenders. One's a playmaker, and then the other one is a defensive defenseman, but they will somehow replace them. And how are they going to replace them? Well, I'm going to package those guys up and then hopefully get a superstar. And then if we're lucky, we get another medium elite potential player right here. Yeah, this was the greatest draft in history. Actually, this was the greatest 3rd round in history, because we drafted 4 medium elite potential players all in the 3rd round. Now, of course, I don't think we've drafted enough medium elite potential players, so how about we get one more goalie? So we have $16 million in cap space to work with. However, there is one guy we have to spend almost all that money on, and of course, that's going to be Winther. But it's not quite $16 million with him. Instead, we're going to be looking around 12.5. So 12.5 for the next 8 years. Winther's going to be sticking around, a 91 overall with medium franchise potential. He is our guy moving forward. Now, when it comes to the remaining $4 million, I don't know if we're going to be really spending any of that. We're probably going to be letting all these guys walk. So this is what I'm thinking. Hines and Wolf are both going to be sent over to the Winnipeg Jets. Wolf was one of the medium elite potential players that we just drafted. I think he could be a good player in the future. However, Dennis can help us right now. So I'm going to offer this package over. They're going to reject it. We'll throw in some draft picks and get this one done. I feel like a 2nd rounder probably should be enough to get this deal done. Unfortunately, they're going to be rejecting that. I'll give up a 3rd round pick as well. Hopefully this isn't going to be enough, because I don't want to throw more into this deal. I guess I have to throw in a 7th, and I'm not against that. So here we go. Dennis is going to be brought to the team. Our defense is basically set now. We just need a couple guys for the bottom 6. Okay, I just need to show this off because this is crazy. So Kulikov, we're going to trade for you. You're 79 overall. You can be a good 4th line centerman for us. Brady Martin is also on the Seattle Kraken, so maybe we trade for Brady Martin. Clearly his cap hit can't be too crazy. 15 million. In what universe has Brady Martin gained 15 million as an 83 overall? That is crazy work. So what we're going to do is basically just send an RFA over. Hopefully they're going to accept that. We're not even close in value. I don't even know why I offered that. So I'll give you a 7th round pick as well. Maybe that's going to make up. They're saying it's a little bit low. I'll give you a 6th round pick as well. So Kulikov, welcome to the team. You're going to play good 4th line minutes. Now we need to find one more centerman. Now we do need to make one more trade, so I'm sending a couple later round picks over to the St. Louis Blues. We got our 3rd line centerman now. I think we should be good to go. Now I think we need to make 2 more trades for the bottom 6. We're going to pick up this player from the Colorado Avalanche. Of course, I'll give up one more 4th rounder. We're going to do no drafting over the next couple of years, but honestly, I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, one more trade has to be completed, and you know what? With all those mediumly potential players we drafted, how about we just draft somebody who went 1st overall? I think that makes a lot of sense for us. So I'm going to send this package over. Calgary's saying no. I'll throw in draft picks. We don't have that many draft picks left, but you know what? We can trade a couple. Here's a 2nd round pick. They're saying no to that. I'll give you a 4th round pick as well. And if you say no to that, I'll give you a 1st round pick. I don't really care anymore. The Chicago Blackhawks are a dynasty, and I'm definitely not making this team any worse with the trades I'm making. Last season, we were disappointed in the playoffs. That won't happen again. Now, I think losing that Stanley Cup last season might have been the breaking point. Connor Bedard's dropped to a 94. He only has elite potential now. The forward core is not looking nearly as good. Taking a look at the defense, Levshinov's dropped to an 84 overall. He's under contract for another 3 years with no movement. This team's not the same. However, we still have the best goaltender in the league, and maybe he can win us a couple extra games in the postseason. So even though we don't look like the greatest in the world anymore, I think we still are the greatest. So let's bounce back from last season's disappointment and let's get ourselves one more Stanley Cup. We only have 10 more years left in the rebuild, so we can't be wasting any seasons. Let's lock in and win another one right now. Now, not too long ago when we started our dominant run where we were building a dynasty, I simulated the entire postseason, didn't look at the regular season standings or anything. That's what we're doing today. Last season, we were disappointed in the playoffs. This season, we're absolutely locking in. We are going back to our old ways, which is winning Stanley Cups. The first thing we have to do is simulate game number 1, and we're finally doing that. We're winning game 1 and we're winning game 2, and it's been a dominant force from our team so far. 14 goals in the first 2 games. We're absolutely flying, but now we've dropped back-to-back games. Things are not looking good. You can't drop 3 in a row, and luckily we're not going to be doing that. So we're moving on to game number 6, which we're going to be winning. So we've moved on to the 2nd round. In the 2nd round, we're taking on the Colorado Avalanche. I need this team to keep the momentum going. We look not bad in the 1st round, but I need to see that continue into the 2nd round. We've been okay so far, splitting the series with Colorado. Game number 5 is a huge win, and game 6 is an even bigger win. So we've made it to the conference finals. 4 more victories sends us to the Stanley Cup final, but can we find those 4 victories? I'm not too sure. We dropped the first 2. We ended up dropping game 5, but you know what? None of that matters anymore. We're in the Stanley Cup final. That was a tough series against the Kraken, but here we are, the Cup final, taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. When in doubt, bring out this move right here, simulating the entire postseason, and you will see success, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Can we close it out in game number 6, though? Can you give me one more victory? Chicago's back on top. That is now 6 Stanley Cups in the last 8 years. If that isn't a dynasty, I don't know what is. I think we've won 7 in this video. I've completely lost track at this point how many Stanley Cups we've won. The only way for me to know how many Stanley Cups we've won is looking at Bedard's numbers, because he's been here for all of them. 61 wins is going to allow us to win another President's Trophy. Of course, we were the best team in the entire league. Even though we have lost a lot of players, this team still finds a way to win. Connor Bedard, how many Stanley Cups do you have? 7 Stanley Cups. We have won 7 Stanley Cups in this video, but we've won 6 over the last 8 years. This is the greatest team in NHL history. You will not find a better team than what we have right here. Winther's putting up amazing numbers. He's won 2 Stanley Cups in the last 3 years. He's definitely the future goaltender. DuPont's leading the way, but hold on. What happened to Bedard in the postseason? He was not his usual self, but you know what? We still won a Stanley Cup, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Winther, 16 wins, 2 shouts, a 929 and 215. You're a Stanley Cup champion once again. 2 cups, a Vezina and a William Jennings. You're slowly turning into one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. We still have 9 seasons left in this video, so how about we pick up 5 more Stanley Cups, 5 more cups over the next 9 years. I think that's reasonable with how this team's performing. Now, over the next 2 seasons, I believe we have 1 or 2 draft picks. With one of those draft picks, a medium league potential power forward. If things couldn't get better for the Blackhawks, they just did right there. So I think moving forward, I'm not going to be showing the re-sign phase unless something notable is happening, like us signing this 79 overall rookie. Because most of the time, we're just not going to be bringing players back, or we're just going to be qualifying RFAs. Other than that, it's going to be very boring moving forward. Now I'm expecting the next couple years to be incredibly rough on us, because we're going to be losing some good pieces. Will Smith, we should be able to hold on to for 2 more seasons. Maybe we can do around $10 million with him. We do have to save money somewhere. So I'll do 10.8 million for the next 2 years with Will Smith. He'll return to the team. But yeah, we've just run out of money. We don't have a lot of cap space. There's not really too much we can do here. I will sign this defenseman right here though. I'll do 1.7 for the next 2 years. That's a good right defenseman who's going to be on a really cheap contract. Team went in. I'm thinking we could probably do something cheap with you. Never mind. You want 4.6 million. Yeah, we're probably going to have to start trading for a lot of rookies. Also, is this Jack Hughes? It's Justice Hughes. Shout out to bro, I guess. So it's time for us to move on from some of our RFAs. We're going to go pick up the guy that we just drafted first overall. He's a centerman who is a power forward. Ideally, we can move him over to one of the wings. I'm not 100% sure how easy that's going to be. I'll give up a 7th round pick as well in this deal. There's trade number 1. So we're going to make one more trade before we head into next season. McLean and Jokinen are both going to be brought in, as well as a 2nd round pick. We need some more players on this team. That's why we're making that deal. Now, I'm not going to lie. The downfall of the Chicago Blackhawks is a little bit tough to watch right now. However, I can't really say we've completely fallen off because we are the reigning Stanley Cup champions. However, Levshinov's dropped to an 80. Bedard's not the player he used to be. Will Smith isn't the player he used to be. We have a 70 overall backup this season. I don't really care about having a 70 overall backup. I know this team is good enough to win games. Can we somehow find a way to repeat for a 2nd time in this video? Maybe even go on another 4-peat? We'll find out pretty quick. Now, the fall off might officially be here. We might have won the President's Trophy again, but only by 1 point. We are not the clear favorite anymore. Connor Bedard has dropped to an 89. You just hate to see this. The fall off has begun for a majority of the players on this team. They're just not the same anymore. But you know what? I think they're good enough to get us one more Stanley Cup. We can walk away with one more cup here. Let's lock in. I shouldn't say one more cup. Like, we're looking to win 5 more Stanley Cups here. Why are we talking about only winning one more cup? Chicago, no messing around here. I need a Stanley Cup this season. I'm out here yapping about winning one more Stanley Cup. Why are we talking about one Stanley Cup? We need at least 5 more Stanley Cups. Chicago has to build the greatest dynasty in NHL history. Not even the Montreal Canadiens can compete with what we're doing right now. That's how dominant we are. So we're moving on to the 2nd round, and that's going to have us taking on the Minnesota Wild. Very rarely have we lost in the Minnesota Wild, but in fairness, very rarely have we lost in this video. We just keep on finding ways to win, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. We have a 3-1 series lead. We're 1 game away from making it to the conference finals, and just like that, we're back where we belong. But technically, the conference finals isn't where we belong. We belong in the Stanley Cup final, and 4 more wins can send us there. Can we take down the Colorado Avalanche? Well, things are looking amazing, but then we drop back-to-back games, so it better not be 3 straight. We need to win game 5, and it looks like Chicago's collapsing. Has time finally caught up with this team? We're about to find out. I need Chicago to win this game right here. This is a must win for the Chicago Blackhawks. Things are looking good entering the 3rd as long as we continue to play defense, and that's what we're doing. We're winning this one 3-2, and we're off to game 7. So let's just take this one game at a time. We need to win game 7, and then we can worry about the Stanley Cup final because we're not even in the Cup final yet. We're scoring the 1st goal of the game. That's an amazing start. Moving into the 2nd, we're doubling down with another 2 goals. We're not collapsing in the 3rd. We're back in the Stanley Cup final. The Chicago Blackhawks are back once again. We're in the Stanley Cup final, taking on the Montreal Canadiens. You know what we're going to do here. We're going to find a way to win. We split the series so far with Montreal. Game number 5 is the most important game. We need to win that one right here, and we're dropping it 4-3. Normally, Chicago's not dropping those games. That's how you can tell we're starting to age out. However, if we've made it to the Stanley Cup final, clearly we have a chance at winning. We're picking up the 1st goal of the game. We're picking up the 2nd goal of the game. How about we pick up the 3rd goal of the game and shut the Montreal Canadiens out? It might not have been a shutout, but it's still a victory, and now we're moving into game 7. It all comes down to one game. The regular season and every game before this doesn't matter anymore. This is the only one that matters. We have game 7 against the Montreal Canadiens. Who can win this one game in order to win the Stanley Cup? Well, in the 1st period, Will Smith's going to be picking up the most important goal. In the 2nd, Connor Bedard's picking up the 2nd most important goal. And in the 3rd period, who's going to be picking up the final goal? Well, Timonin's going to be picking up the last goal for the Chicago Blackhawks. Montreal would pick up back-to-back goals, but it doesn't matter. The Blackhawks are going back-to-back. They're winning another Stanley Cup. The dynasty is not done quite yet. Just like that, 7 Stanley Cups in the last 9 years. 8 Stanley Cups in this video. Chicago refuses to be stopped. I don't care if this team is aging out. I don't care if the players aren't what they used to be. It does not matter. They're going to keep on finding ways to win. Levshinov had 17 points. He is a 76 overall. It doesn't even make sense anymore. Win third, 16 wins, 2 shots, a 920 and a 236. You are an absolute superstar. But I do have one concern moving into next season. Who's retiring on us? Because I know for a fact somebody's going to call it a career. More than likely Levshinov Levshinov's going to be that guy. And I'm going to keep it a stack. I kind of want Levshinov to retire. And you know what? He's going to be helping us, but maybe not, because Will Smith is retiring as well. We're losing a lot of stars here. Will Smith is calling it a career. Levshinov's calling it a career. We're losing two more important pieces from our core. I don't know if Chicago's going to be able to bounce back from this. We're going to have a lot of cap space to work with, so I guess we can re-sign some of our players, but can they replace Will Smith and can they replace Levshinov? I don't know. So the draft was basically pointless because we only had one pick. This was the one draft pick we got. Trey Manning, 64 overall, medium top 6 potential. Maybe he can turn into something. Who knows? So we have $33 million in cap space, but a lot of these RFAs, I'm not interested in them. So we're going to qualify all of them, and then we'll make some moves over the offseason in order to improve this team. We're definitely not going to be the same moving forward. We lost way too many important pieces, but we'll find a way to make it work. So with all the money we do have, Nakamura, of course, I have to bring you back to the team. And honestly, you're not really looking for too much. It's actually going to be less than what you're currently getting paid. So we're going to save a little bit of money. And you know what? We need to save that money. Here's $13.5 million for the next 3 seasons. We're saving $2 million on your contract. Connor Bedard, we're probably going to save a couple million on yours. No, Connor Bedard's washed. He's only looking for $12 million. What has happened to our king? We can probably get this sub $10 million. If I did $9 million and gave you a full no movement, is that enough? It doesn't look like it. I guess we'll do $10 million for one season. I'll give you a no movement. You know what? I'm going to put some respect on Bedard's name. I'll give him a bit more than that. We'll do 10.5 for one season. I want to make sure he's getting paid. McLean, maybe I can give you a bag because who knows where you're going to be playing. $4 million. I'll do 3.8 for 2 seasons. Honestly, for all I know, you're going to be playing top 6 minutes this upcoming year. We have a lot of trades we have to make. We have to make a handful of moves in order to improve this team. We lost a lot of key players, so let's go replace them. All right, so I think we have to get risky. Walker Trainer, you're an 89 overall. You're a pretty good sniper. I'm not going to be able to trade for you because I know for a fact your trade value is going to be too high. However, I can offer sheet you. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to give him his player request. I'll give him 19.5 million. I'll do whatever it takes to get this man on my team. We're going to have to give up our next 4 years of first round picks, but you know what? I don't even care about that. We'll get it done. So here's what I'm going to throw at Walker Trainer, 19.1 million for the next 6 seasons. I'm going to pray that Vancouver doesn't match that, because if we can walk away with him, that's an absolute steal. Now we will need a playmaker to play alongside him, and that's where this player is going to step in. We're going to trade for them. We got to get pretty risky moving forward. So here's what we're going to do with the Colorado Avalanche. We're basically just going to swap RFAs. I think this works out for us because we need a playmaker, and that's exactly what we just acquired. Now, when it comes to the playmaker we acquired, we're looking at the $14 million range, but I'm pretty sure we can get cheaper than that. So how about we do $13.5 million for the next 7 years? I think that's a pretty solid deal for him. Whether or not he accepts, that's another question. Walker Trainer is going to be accepting our offer, but it's whether or not Vancouver is going to be matching or not. I can only imagine they're going to be matching because they're going to have a ton of cap space to work with. If they don't match that, I'm going to be incredibly surprised. And look at that. Walker Trainer is joining the team. We fleeced. We completely fleeced them. Also, I just want to point this out. Bro accepted our contract, and for some reason, it hasn't registered. So is this going to be another one of those situations where he receives a qualifying offer after he's accepted our contract and then we can't keep him on the team? I'm starting to think that's going to happen. Like, I can't offer him a contract. He's already signed to the team, but it won't let me offer him a contract. We're going to get fleeced again, aren't we? I'm simulating a handful of days. Like, I want to make sure Bro has joined the team because I don't want to get fleeced again like this. I have a feeling it's going to happen though, because there's nothing I can do. So here's what we're going to do. The player that we acquired from Colorado was going to be flipped over to Winnipeg. We are getting Winnipeg's first round pick in this deal because that team is so incredibly terrible. That first round pick is going to be top 3. I can basically guarantee it. More than likely, it's going to be dropping from 1 to 3. That's how bad Winnipeg is. Look at this team. Besides the player that I gave them, they have absolutely nothing. This is one of the worst teams in the entire league by far. Unless they have a superstar goaltender, which they don't, that pick is going to be top 3, guaranteed. Now, Chicago is so deep in the trenches right now. We're honestly just picking up players off the streets. If you can skate, you can join this team. Like, we have a 75 overall on the 4th line. We can't afford anything else. When it comes to the defense, it's looking a little bit cooked here. However, we have Bedard still. We have Nakamura still. We have Maddox Schultz. We have Trainer on the team now. We still have the pieces to win a Stanley Cup, and I have a feeling this team's going to surprise a lot of people. Now, last season, I thought the Chicago Blackhawks were washed. They would never get back to their former greatness. I might be wrong. We have repeated, and this season we go for the three-peat. Although Connor Bedard is not the player he used to be, and he is kind of a fraud now, he is still a good player. He is still one of the key players on this team, and we will still win with him. Also, this guy is turning out to be an incredible pickup. 43 goals, 26 assists for 69 points. Yeah, he might turn into a stud for us. Meanwhile, Winther, we already know what we're going to get here. 49 wins, 8 shots, and 917 to 248. We have won 7 Stanley Cups in the last 9 years. We are looking to make it 8 Stanley Cups in the last 10. If we win a Stanley Cup right here, we have won 80% of the Stanley Cups over the last decade. So just keep that in mind. Years and years ago, the Montreal Canadiens went on an incredible run, but there weren't that many teams in the NHL. Now there's 32 different NHL teams, and of those 32 NHL teams, one stands alone at the very top right now, the Chicago Blackhawks. Nobody is able to compete with the Chicago Blackhawks. You could combine all 31 other teams into one team, and they still probably wouldn't beat this Chicago Blackhawks team, because this Blackhawks team doesn't lose. They only win. They have found ways to just keep on winning. Even after losing a ton of players, they have found a way to keep on winning, and they have done the impossible. If we win 3 straight games, we're 1 game away from the conference finals, and that's exactly what we're doing. We need one more victory to send us to the conference finals, and in game number 6, that's exactly what we're going to get. So we're moving on to the conference finals to see the Seattle Kraken. Now, Seattle Kraken, of course, they're a good team if they made it to the conference finals, but can they compete with this Chicago Blackhawks team? I'm not too sure, because this Blackhawks team always finds a way to win. Even when we're down the series, we find a way to make the comeback. So game number 6 is a big game coming up. Can we find a way to win this one? Of course we can. The boys are flying right now, and they're going to shut Seattle out. So we have game 7 coming up. I need one more victory to send us to the cup final. When in doubt, you just have to believe in the team. You have to believe in what we're building, and what we're building right now is a dynasty. We have become a dynasty, the greatest team in NHL history. However, we do need to beat Seattle here. We need to win the third period. And what exactly did we do? Well, we just won the third period. We're back in the Stanley Cup final. 8 Stanley Cups over the last 10 years starts right now. There is only one more team we have to beat, and that is the Pittsburgh Penguins. We have faced the Pittsburgh Penguins a number of times in the Cup final, and we have beat them every time, I believe. So all I'm asking for is one more. Give me one more Stanley Cup right here. One more for Connor Bedard. He deserves it. For a second, I thought we got swept, but that's actually not the case. We have split the series with Pittsburgh. Game 5 is the most important game, and we're dropping that one in overtime, but it's fine because our backs are against the wall, and when they are against the wall, we don't lose. We will always find a way to step up when it matters. We will find a way to win the third period, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're winning the third period. Now we have to win overtime. One more goal is all I'm asking for here, but it looks like our time is done. Our time is done at the very top. We're losing in overtime to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Only 7 Stanley Cups over the last decade. It was an amazing run for Chicago, but everything has to come to an end eventually. It's a heartbreaking loss, it really is, because this very likely was the final run for Connor Bedard. He's aging out on us. There's nothing we can do. Connor Bedard is not the player that he used to be. With that being said, he did perform in the playoffs. He had 6 goals, 16 assists for 22 points. He's an 82 overall though. Connor Bedard's just not that guy anymore. This team is not as dominant as they used to be in the past. I'm not sure if we're ever going to get back to our previous greatness, because in reality, our greatness was so incredible. Also, how on earth did we only get the 15th overall pick from Winnipeg? That team was a dumpster fire. How were they not dead last? But as I was going to say, getting back to our previous greatness, which was 7 Stanley Cups in 10 years, I think that's going to be impossible. But you know what? We might not be done yet, because as you can see, no key pieces from the Blackhawks are going to be retiring. We still have a lot of good players left on this team. Truthfully, it's the salary cap holding us back now, because I have no clue how we can afford everyone. Now, I'm a little bit nervous with the 15th overall pick, because honestly, I have like no scouting on any of these guys. So we're just going to take a flyer on this guy right here. Medium top 6 potential. Hey, it could have been significantly worse. Okay, I just need to point out the amount of mediumly potential players we've gotten who aren't goaltenders. 90% of the time, we're drafting goaltenders. Not today, though. Now, moving forward, I've made up my mind with what I want to do. I want this team to have a new identity, because right now, we're kind of just bringing in new players to jump to the top 6. The following year, we'll have new players to jump to the top 6, and we're always rotating new players. I want a bit of stability moving forward. I want to at least have 6 guys in our forward core and 4 defensemen we can rely on for the rest of this video. So with that being said, we're going to be making a lot of trades. I don't want to just be cycling through players moving forward. So all the UFAs are going to be walking. We're qualifying all the RFAs. RFAs, and then of course we'll sign some rookies. Now we have 4 of our key guys: Nakamura, Schultz, Trainer, Leitch. We need to bring in 2 more right wingers. Now who are those right wingers going to be? I don't know, but for one season, one of them will be Connor Bedard. Ideally, Adams is going to be able to jump to a top 6 role, so maybe we hold off for one season. I would like to bring in at least one right winger though. And then when it comes to the defense, I don't think we have to do too much. Land Dupont's here to stay, Morrow's here to stay, Dennis is here to stay. We need to bring in one good right defenseman, and then I think we'll be good. Before we do anything though, we should handle some extensions. So Leitch, how much are you going to be looking for? I'm hoping for around 11 million, but 13 million is definitely not 11. However, we can still get something done here. So how about we do $12 million and I give you a no movement? Because I'm pretty sure 12 million with a no movement keeps you around for the rest of this video. We're actually going to do less than that. I'll do 11 million for the next 7 years. That's going to be keeping Leitch around. Actually, let's do more than that. Let's make sure he returns to this team. 11.5 million. Now, if we lock him down for the next 7 years, he's going to be sticking around with the team for the rest of this video. Dennis, I'd like to keep you around as well because I think we can do something cheap with you, but you only want to do 1 year, so we're going to hold off with you. And then Connor Bedard, there is a chance you leave the team, especially if you're going to be looking for way too much money. And you know what? Maybe we can actually trade Dennis away because we have this other young defenseman who's only 2 overalls lower, but he's 2 years younger. I think we go with him. He can move into a top 4 role for us. I'll do $7 million for the next 6 seasons. Actually, I'll make that 7.1 for the next 6. He's going to stick around. I'll give him a no movement as well, just so we can save a little bit of money. We'll end up locking him down for 6.5 for the next 6 seasons. And then Dennis, I'm going to trade you away. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. One of our RFAs, a second and third rounder, and then Bathgate, a medium elite potential player who has some potential and could jump into the lineup for us, but we got to make this move right now. Cowan, welcome to the team. Now, if we're bringing Cowan to the team, obviously I do want to extend him. He's looking for 15 million though. Okay, we'll hold off with Cowan for a bit because I'm just not doing 15 million. All right, so the next move is going to be us picking up Cracknell, and then hopefully we're going to find a way to extend him. I don't know how that's going to be possible, but we'll find a way because we need him on the team. The first package we offered wasn't quite enough, so I'll throw in a 4th and 3rd rounder. I still don't think that's going to be enough, but maybe we can get lucky, and it looks like we got lucky. Now we just need to hope he's willing to sign an extension, because honestly that's the one thing we're struggling with right now. And of course, why would Cracknell be willing to sign an extension with the team? That just doesn't make sense. 12 million for the next 2 isn't terrible, but I want to at least lock him down for 6 seasons, so we'll hold off for a little bit. The plan is for the re-sign phase, we get both of these guys to re-sign for at least 6 seasons. Now we're still looking for another right winger, and I might have found that guy. Hirama, welcome to the team. 14.7 for the next 6 seasons. I'm really hoping you accept that. And then when it comes to everyone else, we're going to look at some really cheap bottom 6 forwards. Like this guy right here, 1.3 million for the next 2 years. That's a steal. And then we found another player for 1.3 million. We'll sign him to the team. And then to finish it all off, Logan Taves. How about we do 1.2 for the next 2 seasons? Once again, another bottom 6 player. So John Hirama is going to be joining the team. Leitch is also going to be re-signing. I think we have our core moving forward. As long as we can continue to re-sign everybody, we're going to be in a really good spot. So we've gone ahead and made some adjustments to the team. I think we're in a better spot than we were last season. However, we still don't have enough money for everybody. Cowan, I do want to bring you back to the team next season. However, if I do that, Cracknell won't be coming back to the team. But you know what? In the event that he can't come back to the team, we might still be in a really good spot. We just want to have a little stability moving into the final couple seasons here. We don't want everyone having new line mates every season. We need a bit of consistency and stability. Now, I think with Chicago's new core, we could finish out this video pretty strong. We have a handful of years left. That means a handful of Stanley Cups. Nakamura, 114. Trainer, 96 points. We know what this team is capable of doing. We've seen it in the past. Now we just need to see it one more time. Winther, 49 wins, 8 shouts, a 914 to 242. By the time you reach the end of your career, you're going down as the greatest goaltender of all time. What can't that man do? Now, like, Winther is actually a different beast. Ever since he joined our team, he has won Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup, regular season game after regular season game. He is the greatest goaltender in NHL history, and he's about to add another Stanley Cup to his legacy. Nobody's going to be able to compete with him once we get to the end. Like, we all thought Spencer Knight was a superstar goaltender with the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know if he can compete with Winther, because Winther is just a different breed. He just wins every single game he plays. It's a bit ridiculous. I mean, he's lost the last 2 he's played, but he's not going to lose 3 in a row because that's not what Winther does. What does he do? He picks up shutouts after losing games. He's going going to get us into the conference finals with that victory right there. Connor Bedard, before you leave Chicago, we have to get you one more Stanley Cup. We're taking on the Seattle Kraken in the conference finals, a place we have been a handful of times. We are one game away from making it back to the Stanley Cup final, and here we are, the Cup final, taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. We have played the Carolina Hurricanes a lot in this video, and we've beat them a lot. So how about you give me one more Stanley Cup right here, Chicago? Give me another Stanley Cup. This team has been rolling, and we're not going to stop rolling because we're going to sweep Carolina. The Chicago Blackhawks once again, Stanley Cup champions. This team is never going to lose again. I've completely lost track of how many Stanley Cups we've won. That's 8 Stanley Cups in the last 11 years. Connor Bedard, how many do you have for your career? I want to double check with that. Connor Bedard is a 9-time Stanley Cup champion. That's ridiculous. One of the greatest players of all time. Connor Bedard has stepped up time and time again, and so has Winther. 4 shutouts, a 939 and a 172. Yeah, he's the GOAT, the greatest goaltender of all time. 4 cups, 2 Vezinas, 2 William Jennings, and he's only 28 years old. Nah, bro's him. But after getting through all of this, of course, we do have to re-sign somebody. Now, who is that going to be? Are we going to go with Cowan, or are we going to go with Cracknell? Honestly, I think a defenseman's a bit more important here, but he wants 16 million. Okay, we're not doing that. Cracknell, how much are you looking for? 16 as well. Okay, we'll trade both of these guys, and we'll try to find replacements, because I'm not giving them 16 million. And we don't have too many picks in the draft, but of course, with the way this video has been going, of course, we have to get some elite potential players. So we're going to start with this medium elite potential goalie right here. Now, of course, one elite potential player wouldn't be enough, so how about we get a low elite potential playmaker in the 5th round? Now, Connor Bedard is yet to call it a career. He wants to stick around for a couple more seasons, and you know what? I actually have a plan here. I've been talking about how I want stability in our top 6. What's more stable than Connor Bedard at 4.9 million for the next 2 years? I don't care if he's not the player he used to be. He can play top 6 minutes. Cracknell, I'll qualify you as an RFA, we'll trade you away. Cowan, I'll qualify you as an RFA, trade you away. We'll try to find a $7 million defenseman, and then with the bottom 6, we'll do the exact same thing we did last season. We'll find cheap players. Now, before we make any trades, Maddox Schultz, of course, I do want to bring you back to the team. You're looking for $12 million, and I think that's going to be an amazing contract for us. But of course, we're going to save money, because why wouldn't we save money here? 10.5 for the next 2 years. Maddox Schultz, welcome back for less money than what you're getting paid right now. All right, so I think moving forward, we're almost going to be forced to just bring in guys on their entry-level contract, because things have gotten very stupid in the NHL. First of all, there are very few right wingers that are on reasonable contracts. Bro's an 88 overall, getting paid $20 million. This other right defenseman, he's an 87 overall, getting paid $23 million. How on earth can we afford any of these guys? This guy's an RFA. He's looking for $18 million, so we can't bring him to the team. Everyone else here is a left defenseman. All the right defensemen available are getting paid way too much money, so basically we're going to have to run a left defenseman on our right side. We don't really have any other choice. So moving forward, we're basically just going to be flipping RFAs every season. We're going to be flipping guys on their entry-level contract. So I don't think I'm going to be showing a lot of deals like this, where it's just us trading an RFA for someone who's like a year younger. These are pretty pointless trades. But yeah, it's time for the team to lock in. We've already won 2 in a row. Let's three-peat next season. You know what? I actually lied. I am going to show you all of the RFA trades. I'm just not going to show you the free agent signings where we're picking up our bottom 6 players. Like, you don't need to see me signing that 79 overall who's only going to play for us for 1 season. These trades, though, they're a bit more notable. So once again, the Chicago Blackhawks are repeating. But you know what's up next? The three-peat. Let's three-peat for the 2nd time in this video. And then after we three-peat, of course, we have to go for the 4-peat. Let's go for the 3-peat. One more for Connor Bedard. We have to get Connor Bedard another Stanley Cup. He's still with the team. He's still a key player for us. Yes, he only had 55 points this season. He's only an 82 overall. But Connor Bedard has been a key piece for us for a long time, and we need to get him one more Stanley Cup here. Winther, how about you pick up another Stanley Cup while we're at it? You're an absolute superstar for us. You deserve another as well. So let's go ahead and lock in for another postseason run. We've been here before, and we've won here a lot. Like, we have won a lot of Stanley Cups in this video, but I think we should win one more. And we are not off to a good start. We're not going to be a first-round exit, are we? Like, the Chicago Blackhawks are not a first-round exit team. I can't believe we did that. I can't believe we actually did that. We just lost in the first round. The Chicago Blackhawks lost in the first round after dominating the NHL for basically the past 15 years. We lost in the first round. No, the fall off is here. We're never going to be the same team again. You know what? Nothing you can do about that. Losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. A lot of teams in the past have lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions when they lost to us. Minnesota just went on a crazy run, and we're falling. We're falling in the first round. The team's not the same. Winther put up some good numbers, but we just weren't producing offensively. I guess our time has officially come. The fall off has begun. Now, to make things even worse, after losing in the first round, we're not even walking away with any medium league potential players. No, the fall off is actually really crazy. Not winning Stanley Cups and not drafting medium league potential players. Who are we? So we're done stopping at the re-sign phase moving forward. It's going to be the same every season. Qualifying RFAs. Now, Nakamura, you've been one of our key pieces for a long time, but you're bugging. I'm not giving you 25. We'll figure that one out later. But 25 million is crazy work. Morrow, I will re-sign you because you're not looking for $25 million. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, respectfully, who does Blood think he is asking for 25 million? Yes, you're a franchise potential player and still one of the best in the game, but 25 M's is crazy work. Now, Owen, you played one good season with this team. Now it's time to trade you to Colorado so we can get a second round pick and someone who's on their entry level contract for the next 3 seasons. I don't care about overalls. I care about entry-level contracts. All right, so we're going to take a couple risks heading into the next 5 years. Adams, I'm going to re-sign you to the team. I'm going to give you $4.5 million for the next 4 years. I'm giving you no movement. You're only an 82 right now. I'm really hoping you develop into a star player for us. Connor Bedard, I don't really know how much money you could possibly be looking for. $5.7 million. We're holding off because I'm pretty sure I can do cheaper than that. Now, last season certainly didn't end how we wanted it to. Like, we wanted to walk away with a three-peat and another Stanley Cup for Connor Bedard. And unfortunately, we basically got the complete opposite of that by losing in the first round. That's not going to happen again. This team doesn't lose in the first round in back-to-back seasons, except for that one time we did it basically 20 seasons ago. Chicago's a different team than we were back then. We have become a dynasty over the past 20 years. So there's only one logical way we can finish this video out, with a couple more Stanley Cups to solidify our legacy. So I'm not even sure if we have to look at the standings every season. We already know we're winning the President's Trophy. We've basically won it for the last 15 years in a row. We know our offense is going to be amazing. Our goaltending numbers are great, even though I didn't look at them. We're going to beat Winnipeg in the first round because we're not going to lose in the playoffs again. So we have the Winnipeg Jets in the first round, and we've already been able to steal the first 2 games away. Can we make that the first 3? Is this a sweep over Winnipeg? This is light work. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, recording this video right now has actually gotten a little bit boring. Because normally when I do a 25-year rebuild, we don't dominate this much. Like, how many Stanley Cups have we won at this point? Because it's getting a little bit ridiculous. Our team always wins. Like, we're winning the Stanley Cup 90% of the time. Until now, though. Because St. Louis has now won back-to-back games. Are they going to steal 3 straight away from us? It doesn't look like it. Can we close this out in game number 6, or do we need game 7? Of course we're closing it out in game 6. We have been dominating so much. This has actually become very boring for me. Like, we are just beating absolutely everybody. We have a 3-1 series lead on Vancouver, 1 game away from the Stanley Cup final. Who could have predicted this? Chicago back in the Stanley Cup final. I want to say over the last 16 years, we've almost won 10 Stanley Cups. We have dominated so much that we are down 3-1 in this series. We were down 3-0 at one point, and we are somehow going to make this comeback. We are somehow going to win 4 in a row until we don't. Okay, maybe things are starting to get interesting again. We were dominating for so long. I was so confident for so long. Things might be getting competitive. We might have to lock in for the final 4 years. I was just saying how this was boring because we were dominating so much. It's time to lock in once again. We need to absolutely lock in because I don't want to be losing in the postseason moving forward. We need to keep on winning Stanley Cups here. No more falling, no more failing. It's back to Stanley Cup or bust moving forward. Oh yeah, by the way, Bedard's not done. He still has a couple more good years left in him. Now, before we even jump into the draft, Nakamura, how much are you looking for? You only want $18 million now. We can certainly do that. However, if we bring Nakamura back to the team, that means we have to say goodbye to Connor Bedard. We won't have enough money for him. This is a sad day indeed. $17 million for Nakamura. He's not helping us in the slightest. But Connor Bedard, your time has come to an end. You won't be returning to the team for the upcoming season. You know what? That's not right. That is not right in the slightest. Bedard, I will try to find money for you. Ekman Larsson, I will also try to find money for you. We need to free up about $10 million to bring both of these guys back. We'll find a way to do that. So this is what we're going to do at the draft. This defenseman right here, I'm going to throw him into Trade Finder. I don't care what we get. Toronto's sending us a good package, a second and third rounder. I'm perfectly fine with that. But we need to free up some other money as well, so who else is getting shipped out? We need players on multi-year deals. I'll trade this forward who's getting paid $2 million. I'll send him over to Colorado. There you go. We free up another $2 million. And then who else can we trade away to clear up a little bit of money? I'll trade this guy right here. He's only a 77 overall. Give me a third and fifth round pick. So that's everything we're doing during the draft, because I don't think we're getting anything notable here. Unless this guy actually has low league potential, then we might have got something. But yeah, that's not the case. So there's two main guys I want to bring back to the team. Of course, Connor Bedard has to be one of them, but he wants $6 million. Why do we have $26 million in cap space now? How on earth did we get that much money? Did we lose somebody? Hold on, I thought we didn't have any money. Maybe we didn't have to make those trades I made. I have no clue what's going on. Connor Bedard, welcome back to the team though. Was I just completely bugging? How do we have $26 million in cap space? Somebody must have retired on me. Who retired? Well, we're going to find out who retired in a moment. Ekman Larson, here's $4.3 million. But seriously, who retired on me? We lost somebody for sure. Now, I think I just realized who retired on us. We lost the best defenseman in the NHL. Landon DuPont, you had an amazing career, but I guess we're heading in a different direction. So I guess what we're going to do here is we'll qualify these RFAs, and then we have to go get a Landon DuPont replacement. Because yeah, we have nothing when it comes to our defense now. So there's two extensions that we have to worry about right now. Maddox Schultz, of course, being one of them, but we're going to be able to re-sign him on a really cheap deal. I'm not too concerned about him whatsoever. We'll do 11.5 for the next 2 years. It's $1 million more than what he's getting paid right now. But Winther, we need to bring you back. Okay, I guess we don't. Why do we have so many extension dollars? Like, we have $40 million in extension dollars. Why do we have that much money? You know what? I'm not going to question it. I guess Nakamura is about to be a free agent. We have $16 million in cap space right now. Maddox Schultz is technically a pending UFA. Okay, maybe that makes a bit of sense. Now, if you're wondering how much of a dumpster fire the NHL is right now, I sorted every defenseman who is making less than $8 million, and this is the highest rated right defenseman, an 84 overall. So this is our Landon DuPont replacement. Yeah, there is no right defenseman out there. Like, literally none. So all I'm going to do in free agency is find a bunch of UFAs that we can bring in for one season. I don't really want anyone signing a multi-year deal with the team. I only want players for one season. And on top of only wanting players for one season, they also have to be very cheap players. Now, we actually might pull off 2 more big trades before we head into next season. So I'm going to give up a mediumly potential goaltender and a second round pick for Stevens. Now, unfortunately, that's not going to be enough. But I didn't realize how many second round picks we have and how many of those second round picks have a ridiculous amount of value. So 2 second round picks aren't going to be enough. I'll throw in the Chicago Blackhawks second round pick. Is that enough? Yes, it is. Now, you know what? Now that I understand how much value a lot of these picks have, we're going to make one more big trade here. So I'm going to trade 2 first round picks, 2 second round picks, and a third round pick. We're going to try to get Cousins from the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're saying no. This might seem like a crazy deal, but there is method in the madness. So 3 years of first round picks are going to be given up because I want this player so bad. We need an elite defenseman on the team, and I know he can be that guy, so I'm going to send all of this over to Toronto. Did we overpay? Absolutely. But we needed a defenseman, and he's our guy. So we had to make some adjustments over the offseason after losing Landon DuPont. But you know what? I still think we're in a pretty solid spot here. We have a lot of high overalls on the team. Winther's still our starting goaltender. And as long as we have him and Connor Bedard, then there's no way anyone's going to be able to stop us. Now, we have to take things seriously moving forward. No more messing around. No more ha-has. No more having fun. This is all about winning Stanley Cups. These final 4 years are only about winning Stanley Cups. After dropping game number 1, we're scoring a lot of goals in game 2. I need that goal scoring to continue into game number 3, but we're dropping that one. What is this Chicago team doing? We can't be falling to the St. Louis Blues. Granted, they're an incredible team, so losing to them wouldn't be much of a surprise, but we just can't allow that to happen. We need Chicago to lock in because we know what this team is capable of. And what are they capable of? Winning Stanley Cups. A sweep over Dallas. We're moving on to the conference finals. We're slowly heading back to our old ways, and our old ways, we're winning lots of Stanley Cups. We're in the cup final. We have won a lot of straight games. It's back-to-back sweeps. Can we get another sweep right here? Did we actually sweep them? Hold on now. What did this team just do? Also, by the way, we sucked during the regular season. We only won 48 games, but that was 3 straight sweeps. After starting the postseason 1-2, we won 15 games in a row. Alright, even when the regular season doesn't look good for Chicago, they're still the greatest team of all time. Because for the first time in a long time, not only were we not the President's Trophy winners, but we were actually 4th in the entire league. The Minnesota Wild were the best team in the division, but I guess none of that matters because the Chicago Blackhawks are back on top top once again. We're Stanley Cup champions once again. No, that was ridiculous. There is no reason we should have won that Stanley Cup. Also, the main reason that we weren't nearly as good, we don't have Land DuPont, plain and simple. Our defense wasn't nearly as good this season, and that's why we didn't see as much success. But you know what? We actually did see as much success because we won a Stanley Cup. That's how good we were. Dallas Winther, a 16-2 record, one shot, a 922 and a 225. You did exactly what you were supposed to, and that's winning a Stanley Cup. So after that incredible performance right there, Connor Bedard, are you calling it a career? Because there's a very good possibility bro decides to retire here. I wouldn't blame him for retiring. He's definitely done everything possible in his career, and it looks like that's happening. Connor Bedard, after 1,954 games played, he scored 981 goals, 1,065 assists for 2,046 points. He just had one of the greatest careers of all time. Just look at this man, a 10-time Stanley Cup champion. That means we've won 10 Stanley Cups so far in this video. 3 Conn Smythes, 4 Harts, 4 Ted Lindsays, 4 Art Ross, 2 Rocket Richards, a Selke, a Calder, and 2 Lady Bings. Connor Bedard, that's one of the greatest trophy cases of all time. Realistically, I think the only player you're behind all time is Wayne Gretzky. Also, is this Ray Bukestad? Shout out to Ray Bukestad. He turned into an absolute stud in the NHL. 982 points from him. We drafted him a long time ago, and he was an amazing player for us. Granted, he didn't play too many years with us, but shout out to Ray Bukestad. How many Stanley Cups did you win? 2 Stanley Cups, both of them with us. You'll love to see that. Also, I guess it wouldn't hurt just to double check to make sure we aren't losing any other players. I guess we're losing Hutchinson as well. But yeah, he wasn't a big time performer for us or anything. Did we draft Hutchinson? No, Dallas did. Shout out to bro though. Now after losing Connor Bedard, clearly we need to pick up a replacement. So we're going to draft this medium league potential player right here. Is he really the Connor Bedard replacement? Absolutely not. But once we package him up with a couple other assets, we actually might get the Bedard replacement. Now to finish off this draft, I thought it was only right if we drafted one more lowly potential player. So that's what we're going to do with Keegan Savage. Now because of how few right defensemen are actually in the NHL right now, we are going to massively overpay this 84 overall. Just because we need somebody to play some right defensive minutes for us. McLean, I would like to lock you down for the next 3 years, and I think we can do that. Never mind, no we can't. Somehow it's going from 2.8 as an asking price to 8.6 million. No clue how that works, but here you go. Here's 3 million for the next 2 years. Nah, bro's bugging. Nakamura, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I didn't even recognize you. I did not realize this was you. An 85 overall, and then how much did you want? 14 million. Nakamura, you're a Chicago Blackhawk legend. Don't get me wrong, one of the greatest of all time. Like, how many Stanley Cups did you win with the team? You won 10 Stanley Cups. Look at your trophy case, arguably better than Connor Bedard's, but I can't give you 14 million. I just can't do that. Now, without Nakamura, this team's not going to be the same in the future. With that being said, we do need to make sure some players are returning. Walker Trainer, here's $19.8 million. It's about $700K more than what you're getting paid right now. When it comes to some of our defensemen, though, they're going to want some absolute bags, but some of them have earned it. Starting with Nakar, we'll do $13.1 million for the next 7 years. He's getting a no movement in those final couple seasons. Stevens, I guess I can keep you around the team as well. I think you're a good second line player. And if I give you no movement, we should be able to save quite a bit of money. Like, we might be able to get this down to the $10.5 million range. How about we do 10.8 for the next 7? And then with everyone else, we'll find some cheap replacements in free agency. But just wait a minute. Winther, you need to stay on this team. And out of all players, of course, it's going to be Winther, stepping up for us when it matters, taking the most reasonable deal of all time. We're looking sub 10 million. When was the last time we saw a sub $10 million deal? I don't think I've ever seen one before. Now, you know what, Nakamura, I just can't allow you to play another season not on the Chicago Blackhawks. So welcome back to the team. 15 million with a no movement. We can't go on without Nakamura. He is our man. Also, he's now willing to sign a 1-year deal, which is way more reasonable. Now, Chicago is pretty simple. Just win me a couple more Stanley Cups to finish off this video. I don't believe we have won enough Stanley Cups here. Winther, you've had an amazing career, but you know what would make your career better? A 6th Stanley Cup. So how about you go win that? Now, last season, we simulated the entire postseason and things worked out for us. So why should I change things up here? Let's simulate the entire postseason once again, and let's see if we can run it back. When we simulated the entire postseason last year, we saw a lot of success. We won the Stanley Cup. So I don't want to change things up here. We're shutting Vegas out in game number 1. We're beating them 4-1 in game number 2. We have now allowed 1 goal in this series. We then proceed to allow 5 goals in game 3, but who cares? A sweep over Vegas. How many straight wins is that now? That is our 4th straight sweep. I believe that is 19 straight postseason victories. We have won 19 straight postseason games going back to last season. Can we make it 20 straight games? It looks like it. That's 21 now. Can we make it 22? Can we make it 23? It doesn't look like it. We're finally going to be losing a game after 22 straight postseason victories. We're finally going to be dropping a game to the Dallas Stars. Chicago's moved on to the conference finals. They're 8-1 in the playoffs right now. They don't plan on losing anytime soon. The Calgary Flames are the next team up. Can Calgary even compete with this Chicago Blackhawks team? I'm not too sure. But you know what? They've split the series with us. Game number 5 is a must win for us. Can we show up in game 5? It doesn't look like it. We have game 6 elimination coming up, and it's not elimination for the Calgary Flames, but instead the Chicago Blackhawks. Are we going to fall in the conference finals? Absolutely not. A 5-0 victory. We're going against a former Blackhawk goaltender. We're not going out like this. The Chicago Blackhawks are going to finish this video out with a 4-peat, maybe even a 5-peat, because I've lost how many straight Stanley Cups we've won at this point. We're outscoring them in the first period. Moving into the second, it's going to be a quiet one, so it's all about defense entering the third, and in the third period, yeah, we scored a lot of goals. 5 goals to be exact. It's a 7-1 victory. We're back in the Stanley Cup final. This is for Stanley Cup number 11 in the video. 11 Stanley Cups is a wild stat right there. So here we go. Can we win Stanley Cup number 11? All we have to do in order to win that is beat the Philadelphia Flyers. We split the series with Philly. They're putting up a big fight here, but we need to win game 5. Game 5 is the most important, and we're dropping that one. Don't go out like this. Do not fall to the Philadelphia Flyers. I want Stanley Cup number 11 right now. We're allowing the first 2 goals. Not a great start. Moving into the second, the offense can't get going. We need somebody to score some goals for me, and it's just not going to happen. We're going to be falling in the Stanley Cup final 4-1. A heartbreaking loss for the boys. No, I can't even be too mad about this. We have 10 Stanley Cups right now. Stanley Cup number 11 would have been amazing, but we've won 10 Stanley Cups. The Chicago Blackhawks are going to win the President's Trophy this season. It was a big bounce back campaign from them, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because we didn't walk away with the Stanley Cup. Nakamura, 85 points this season. Even though you're regressing, you're still an incredible player. Maybe we do try to keep you on this team because we definitely wouldn't be the same without you. However, I don't want to do a multi-year deal, and I definitely don't want to give you $18 billion because, yeah, you've been asking for some absolute bags. I do believe we have the cap space to keep you on this team if you're willing to sign something reasonable. So honestly, it's all up to you. Will you sign a cheap 1-year deal? We'll find that out pretty quick. Also, Winther, an $895 and a $295. You should be disappointed in yourself. Also, hold on. Exact start potential, he's an 87 overall. Nah, bro's starting to regress on us. I never thought I'd see the day. Winther's regressing. Nakamura's not the same player he used to be. What is going on in this league? I just hate everything about this right now. So this draft so far has been a massive bust for us to the point where the best player we're drafting is a grinder. Yeah, if that doesn't sum up this draft for us, I don't know what will. Now, the only player we're focused on during the re-sign phase is Nakamura. Can we bring him back to the team? Is there any way we can do this? The most money we can give him is $10.575 million on a 2-year deal. Is he willing to accept that? That's literally the best I can do. He's returning for 1 more. Now, for the final 2 years of this video, I would like to run the exact same team. So with that being said, Maddox Schultz, I don't know how we're going to be able to bring you back to the team. Actually, yes, I do. This should be pretty easy. Because obviously, I'm not going to be doing a modified no trade. No, instead, I'm going to give you $10.5 million for the next 2 years, and you're going to be returning. When it comes to Hirama, I'm really hoping you'll do something reasonable with me. $18 million is not that reasonable, but you know what? We'll negotiate something. This is a joke. An absolute joke. Thank you, but I'm not convinced this organization is the right fit for me with these contract terms. Buddy, you are lucky to be here. So you know what? We're letting him walk. He can walk into free agency. If you don't want to be a part of this Stanley Cup team, don't be. You're out the door. Instead, because I'm incredibly petty, McLean, I'll give you all the money in the world. You don't deserve this money right here, but I'm going to give that to you. And then Herma, you're playing second line minutes. McLean's on the top line over you this season. If you think you're better than the Blackhawks organization, buddy, you're wrong. Now, if we want to run the exact same team for the next 2 years, everyone needs to be under contract for at least 2 years. So Cousins, I'm sending you over to the Red Wings. Smirnoff, welcome to the team. Now, the next player we're going to pick up is Mathers from the Philadelphia Flyers. He has low league potential, under contract for the next 2 years. I'll throw in a 6th round pick as well, and that should be enough to get this deal done. I guess they need a 7th as well. I don't really care what I have to give up here. I want to make sure that Mathers is joining our team, and it looks like he is. So moving on to our next trade, what we're going to do is this medium league potential player we drafted a couple years ago. I'm going to send him over to the LA Kings. Garrison and 2 second rounders are going to be acquired. Never mind, just make that Garrison and 1 second rounder. So let the trades continue, as Tapper is now going to be acquired from the Florida Panthers for a 2nd round pick. We're just about done with our team. I think we just need to make a couple free agent signings. That's if we even have enough money to make any free agent signings. This man McLean did not just say he is not interested in extending with the team. What is wrong with bro? I just gave you the biggest bag imaginable and you said no to it. Hirama, maybe I will bring you back to the team. Here's 18.4 for the next 6 seasons. McLean, we don't need you. I offered McLean the biggest bag imaginable and bro just said no. And then Hirama just said no. What is wrong with these players? Do they not understand how good Chicago has been over these past couple years? You take a pay cut to stay with this team, plain and simple. Now he's willing to sign with the team. Now he's willing to negotiate with me. I would have given you more money. I would have given you more clauses, but you lost all of that. So instead, here's 16.5. You cost yourself money. Nah, sometimes it's a little bit ridiculous. Hirama, welcome back to the team. You're not getting any promises. I might even play you on the 4th line this season just cuz. Now Hirama, I will play you on the top line, but I just want you to know you were absolutely bugging. Also, why is this guy playing on the 2nd pairing? Yeah, let's not do that. Like, that just makes absolutely no sense. Bro is absolutely bugging. Winther, you've dropped to an 86 overall. You're not the player you used to be, but I know we can win 2 more Stanley Cups over the next 2 years with you. Now we're going to simulate the postseason like this one more time, but for the final season, we're going to go round by round. The only reason I'm doing this is because of the success we've seen in the past with this method. Like, we've been winning a lot of Stanley Cups for doing this method, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just keep on doing this. Truthfully, if we win a Stanley Cup this season, I should probably use this method for the final season, but nah, for the final season, we're switching it up. So it's a clean sweep over the Nashville Predators in the 1st round. We're moving on to the 2nd round where we're going to be taking on the Dallas Stars. That is 5 straight victories. Can we make it 6 straight wins? This team is rolling right now, but it was only a matter of time before we dropped a game. We're dropping game 3, but that doesn't matter because we're already in the conference finals. We're taking on the Colorado Avalanche next. We're dropping game number 1, but I have a feeling this team's going to respond, and that's exactly what they're doing. Back in the Stanley Cup final. Give me another Stanley Cup right now. We got swept. Wow, this Chicago team cannot catch a break anymore. How many straight Stanley Cup finals have we been to now? I think that might be 4 straight cup finals, but we've had way too much disappointment in the last 2. The Blackhawks, once again, the best team in the entire league. We won 62 games. We dominated the NHL. Trainer, 100 points this season. Nakamura, 86. But what happened? What just happened in the cup final? Because that was an absolute joke. We just got swept. Winther, you better not have put up bad numbers once again. You have been a stud up until these last 2 postseasons, where I think age has caught up to you. At 33 years old, I just don't think you're the same player you used to be. I need you to prove me wrong in our final season, though. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup champions. How many straight cup finals have we made? We've made it to 4. 4 straight Stanley Cup finals, and we've only won 1 of them. Now, these past 4 years have been tough on the boys, so we're moving into our final season. One last season with the Chicago Blackhawks. As long as nobody retires on us, we're running the exact same team. And honestly, the only player I'm worried about retiring is Nakamura. And you know what? It doesn't look like he's going to be retiring. He's going to be running it back for 1 more season. We're not losing any players. Let's just run it back. No changes to the team whatsoever. So here we go. The 2050 NHL season. We've made it all the way to this point. We know what this team does. We know what this team's capable of. Winther, I need you to lead us to 1 more Stanley Cup. Why do you have fringe starter potential as a 34-year-old? I have no clue. But this man has had the quickest fall off of all time. But before you completely fall off, win me 1 more. So here we go. The last dance for the Blackhawks, first in the entire league, a 56-19-7 record, 3.65 goals per game, 2.49 allowed, one of the best offensive and one of the best defensive in the entire league. Trainer, 106 points. Leitch is picking up 77, Hirama's picking up 73, Nakar's picking up 71, Maddox Schultz 60. At this point, he's going to be pretty old. He is 40 years old right now. Nakamura, how old are you? You got to be up there in age as well. You're 40 years old as well. A bunch of old vets on the team still performing. Winther, you're another one of those old vets. You've been here for a long time. You've been regressing for a while now. But you know what? I think we got to get these old boys 1 more. Get these old vets 1 more Stanley Cup, and that run starts right now. So here we go. One last postseason run with the Chicago Blackhawks. And of course, we are going to come out flying. A sweep to start it off. That's what I'm looking for. One thing about this Chicago Blackhawks team is they're always going to fight. Regardless of what is going on, they're going to compete for a Stanley Cup. After dropping the first 2 games, I'm assuming they're going to respond in Game 3, and that's exactly what they're doing. And not only are they responding in Game 3, they're responding in Game 4, but they're not going to respond in Game 5. We're going to be dropping that one. We can't be a second round exit in our final season. Chicago, you have done too much in this video to fall in the second round. We just can't allow that to happen. 3 goals in the first period is great. 5 goals in the game is amazing, but how about we pick up one more, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Nakamura's picking up another. Now we're in Game 7. The winner of Game 7 is moving on to the conference finals, and I am very confident that's going to be the Chicago Blackhawks. When this team's back is against the wall, they find a way to fight back. They fight back every time, and they win every time, and that's exactly what we're doing right here. We're moving on to the conference finals. Our final run's not quite done yet, so we're moving on to the conference finals, and the Dallas Stars are going to be the next team up. We have faced Dallas a number of times in this video, and you know what? I think we have a good record against them, but our record means absolutely nothing because everything's different now. It's a best of 3 moving forward, with game number 5 being the most important, and we're dropping that one. I don't know if we're going to be able to make another comeback here. We have made one 3-2 series comeback already. Can we make another one? Well, we're exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Dallas is taking the lead. Is this the end for the Chicago Blackhawks? It looks like it. The Blackhawks are falling in the conference finals. It's all over just like that. The 25-year rebuild of the Chicago Blackhawks is now complete. Now, this was quite the run for the Blackhawks. Like, how many Stanley Cups did we win? It was either 10 or 11. 10 or 11 over the past 25 years, and the first 5 years were just basically rebuilding. So over the past 20 years, we won 10 or 11 Stanley Cups. I would consider that a massive success. Now, when it comes to the all-time leaders for the Blackhawks, Connor Bedard's going to be at the top with most seasons played with 24 and the most games played with 1,954 points. When it comes to goals, that's going to be Nakamura, though. He's picking up 1,086, while Connor Bedard, he's picking up 1,065 assists. Bedard's also going to be leading in all-time points with 2,046. When it comes to penalty minutes, no surprise, that's going to be Chris Chelios. But Nakamura was catching up. He's finishing with over 1,000. Now, when it comes to wins, this isn't a surprise whatsoever. Winther, 578. That's the most in Blackhawks history, and he was catching up to Tony Esposito when it came to shutouts. He picked up 68 so far in his career. If we had a couple more years in this rebuild, I wouldn't be surprised if he passed Esposito. But now it's time to look at the all-time leaders across the NHL. When it comes to player games played, that's going to be Ovi, 1,983. Goalie games played, that's going to be Sergei Bobrovsky with 1,900. Most goals is going to be Ovi with 1,156. Most points, no surprise, Wayne Gretzky still at the top, and he's going to be at the top in assists. But shout out to Quinn Hughes, 1,447. He was pretty dominant. Looking at wins, Marty Brodeur still at the top with 691. Shout out to Spencer Knight, who's finishing 4th all-time in wins, a former Chicago Blackhawk. When it comes to shutouts, Marty Brodeur is still at the top, 50-goal seasons. Nakamura's taken over with 12 50-goal seasons. When it comes to 100-point seasons, Wayne Gretzky's still at the top. I'm a little surprised at that. I thought Connor McDavid would have passed him. I guess not. So over the past 25 years, we've rebuilt the Chicago Blackhawks, and we have turned them into a dynasty. One of the greatest seasons of all time. This was arguably one of my most successful rebuilds of all time. Like, we almost completed a 5-peat. In order to complete a 5-peat, you have to 4-peat. And that's what we did in this video. Chicago, I turned you into one of the greatest dynasties of all time, if not the greatest dynasty.